Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on a, overcast Monday out of Montgomery, Alabama. But it seems like a good day as any, the kickoff of Talk Radio Show. Of course, Eddie Bader is here, as is Troy Carrico. But today we're going to kick off the show. We're talking to a friend. We missed last year, though. Milt Livingston is in the studio with me. Milt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Joey. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And we have coming up near the end of February, and it's good to get this word out early, the Jewish Food Festival coming up here in Montgomery.
Yes, sir, absolutely. It'll be our 20th year, and we are very grateful to all the people in town who are just waiting for some of that good Jewish food.
So, for folks who haven't stopped by before, because y'all are expecting a lot, though, like thousands, right?
Yes, sir.
So if folks are kind of interested first hearing about this, let's describe what is the food festival like? What can they expect?
Well, the food festival has been going on for 19 years. We are busy making and baking meals, and we will have the meals available for purchase there at the temple. And it's at Temple Beth Or on Narrow Lane Road. And we also have the treasure market, which is gently used items, very classy. The people who are in charge of that do not accept junk, but we also have that too, and we have people that spend more time looking at those things than they do eating when they come in.
So folks can stop by, get a bite to eat, and then go around the treasure market.
Absolutely, or vice versa for the ladies.
Fair. That makes a lot more sense. Actually.
Now we'll be open from 10 o'clock until 2 p.m., but I do advise people to come early as possible because in past years we have run out of certain items. We don't want to disappoint anybody.
So what are some of the more popular items, would you say?
Well, we have the brisket plate, which is beef brisket and cabbage rolls, noodle kugel, latkes, and cajado, which is a kind of a spinach dish, Mediterranean origin. We also have brisket sandwiches, which are new this year. Kosher hot dogs, kosher, of course, all beef. And cheesecake, and more cheesecake from Carnegie Deli.
All right. Is it like the latkes? Is it all right if I just get like a whole plate of those? Is that all right? Is that allowed?
Absolutely.
Because it's so good.
And that's right. We make the latkes there,
right
outside the temple. We've got we've got the setup done, and we have 2 or 3 fellows who are heroes to us because they are out there sweating away making those latkes for you.
So do folks need to pre-order or just show up the day of and get in line?
No pre-orders.
Okay.
We did that last year, and unfortunately, I think that contributed to some of the people not being able to get food toward the end of the time. But just be there. It would be good to come early. We usually have a line out in the parking lot by 9:30. I would advise that, especially if you want to look at the treasure market.
Well, and this is Temple Beth Or on Narrow Lane Road, and what's the exact date and time?
It's going to be Sunday, February 23rd.
Okay.
And you can park either behind the temple or the tennis court parking lot down in Huntington. They've been very nice to let us use that. We'll have a shuttle going back and forth between the parking lot and the temple.
Well, folks, you got to get by there just to maybe look out the treasure market, but the food is amazing.
It is, and we have had years and years and years of people who look forward to this. And word spreads fast, and you're one of the reasons. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And of course, we didn't even mention the desserts. Y'all have a huge menu of that, right?
Well, cheesecake is the main thing. But,
Okay.
Yes, sir. We have sweets. We have strudel, rugelach, mandelbread, and a few other nice Jewish items that our ladies are busy baking right now.
Well, I just wanted to leave people hungry as we ended our segment here. Folks, y'all get by there. Again, it's going to be Sunday, February the 23rd, Temple Beth Orr on Narrow Lane Road, 10 to 2. Get by and really enjoy the food, but enjoy the fellowship, enjoy the people, get to know folks. Great seeing you, Milt. Really is.
Thank you, Joey.
More news and views after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025, we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats to your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This is Ryan Turner with Infusion Wellness Center. We've been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for about 3 years now, and it's a great way to get your name out there and reach the people your business needs to grow and succeed. Highly recommended.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the River region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And man, there is so much to get to today. So much indeed. In the studio with me again, we have Eddie Bader and Troy Carrico. How you two gentlemen doing here on this Monday?
All right.
I think I had no power for a second.
All right.
I was going to change things in a hurry.
I was about to be like, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. So I don't even know where to begin today because I'm in a good mood, though. I want to begin with this because this is something that constantly happens when it comes to Donnie from Queens or the president-elect, Donald John Trump. 7 days away from his official return and inauguration. Right. But the thing that happens, and I think y'all both know about this, is left-wing rags or left-wing outlets will make these compilations of like, look at how stupid Trump is. And people who love Trump love these things.
Oh, yeah.
So this is an instance of that. And I guess we should call it Bing Bang. Bing Bang, Bing Bong, Bong, Bing Bong. Well, here's what I mean by that.
Beat it. Bing, bing, bing. You press a button. Bing, bing. They all hand you checks. Bing, 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 bing. We had our beautiful Marine standing there. Bing, 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 bing. You know, in the old days, bing, bong. You know, with the map. Bing, bing, bing.
Okay, so far he's described using Twitter, pressing buttons, distributing checks, Marine shooting in the old days, and maps with this sound effect. Let's keep going.
Mouth on him. Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, bing, bing. They're cleaning up. Fix it up. Bing, bing, bing. A 14-point plan. Bing, bing, bing. Anthony Weiner. You know, the little bing, bing, bing. Everyone's attacked me. He's gone. Bing. Everyone else, bing. Where have they gone? Bing. Wow, what a tackle. Bing. Playing cards. Bing, bing, bing. Those tunnels. Bing, boom. Right under the toilet. Bing, boom. Right up. Bing. Like a rocket ship, except in the wrong direction. I'd fly over, drop them right on top. You know, just bing. They want me to use the pump because the other one, which I really like better than going bing, bing, bing. It's like puppets. Bing, 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 bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. The bing, bing, bang, bang, boom. I was imitating puppets, and I said, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. Bye, bing, bing. That's the end of that. You know, it's the only thing you can say.
God rest Vice News. Are they still around?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I see them drop something. So, yeah, they must be hanging.
But you know what's funny is I used to get pinged on, and, you know, no matter how you set the algorithms on your iPhone, I don't know about Android, but you still get liberal stuff pushed to you. And Vice was that Huffington Post. It's like, please go away.
Now, I noticed there's a flag you put up behind you today in the studio, Troy.
Yes.
Like, what is this and why are we doing this?
Well, in anticipation of Daddy making it home on the 7th and the Gulf of America, I thought it only fitting that the revisionists, you know, in the past, Joey, winners wrote history. And in the last 20 years, we've let losers redux it and change it. But let's be honest, that flag right there represents the Christopher Columbus expedition, and there's markings on it of the crown, and it tells the story of the journey to the New World and the Gulf of America and good things. So that's what that's about back there.
So you love the idea of let's change it to the Gulf of
Absolutely.
America.
We beat. Why would we call it the Gulf of Mexico?
Right.
We haven't lost to Mexico.
Yeah, I don't even know why it's called.
And so check this out. A good friend of mine, Colonel Chuck Holland, if you're out there, Chuck, was at my house last night, and he was the defense attaché officer for Bolivia, fluent in Spanish. His wife was there, beautiful wife, Roxanne, with him. And one of the things he said about the mindset of South Americans and North Americans, the idea of naming it the Gulf of America appeals to both continents.
Interesting.
So that's kind of a different take on it.
It's,
and I think it's
appropriate. That's what Trump said.
We are the Americas. We're the South and North. So
that's exactly right.
All right. Well, I'm all for that. And apparently the whole gambit to get Greenland is very, very real indeed. Like J.D. Vance doubling down on Sunday talk shows talking about this, essentially saying, there's a deal we need to make. There's a deal to be made. We need to own Greenland, which I think is, that's the spirit. That's the spirit. Though there are a lot of folks when Trump is talking about these things these days who are just like poo-pooing it.
Of course.
And it's like everything the guy comes up with, it's like they have some strong opinion that, well, that's stupid. That'll never work.
Right.
But here's the write-up. J.D. Vance, in an interview aired Sunday, that there's a deal to be made in Greenland amid President Trump's indication that he wants the U.S. to own the world's largest island. Trump's refusal to rule out military force to acquire Greenland. Wow, they take everything a reporter asks this guy seriously. Like, okay, you're talking to Trump. It's like, could you take military and economic pressure off the table? No, why would I tell you that? Why would I tell you what cards I have in my hand before we bet on this poker?
Clearly, those people have never negotiated.
Yeah, but of course, that's now officially the record. Trump refused to rule that out, whether it had to do with Greenland, currently defended by NATO member Denmark, defended by Denmark.
Their Navy is in a pitiful. And listen, I hear from inside sources that are somewhat connected to the State Department that there is a push for Denmark saying, hey, how can we get this done? How can we make this happen?
Right.
Because they don't have the resources to effectively protect it.
It's just costing them money at this point.
It's not just Greenland, of course, it's the Panama Canal. And Trump's refusal to rule out military force sent shockwaves through the U.S. and its ally nations. I'm reading from Axios, that regime rag. Vance said on Fox News Sunday that military force isn't needed in Greenland, and that U.S. troops are already stationed on the island.
Thule Air Base.
Trump has repeatedly said that controlling Greenland is critical for U.S. national security, a talking point that Vance echoed on Sunday. What, is it critical?
Absolutely.
I would say it's
critical infrastructure. Absolutely.
Fairly critical. Danish officials in private messages sent to Trump's team expressed willingness to boost security in Greenland or increase U.S. military presence there. Yes, as you just said. Greenland is really important for America strategically and has a lot of great natural resources, Vance went on to say. Vance added that people like Donald Trump Jr. met in Greenland last week and told him that they want to be empowered to develop those resources. Vance also argued that the Danish government has not done a sufficient job of securing the island, especially as the Arctic starts to open up.
Right.
That's
why we need to be there.
And, Thule Air Base is right up on the Arctic Circle, so we already have a footprint. But I think it's imperative, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a pincher movement for the Arctic. You have Alaska, you have Greenland coming in at different spheres. So not many countries can do that. We're able to project. And technically, we can go through Canada. I mean, I'm sure if we had to. So that gives us a third, roughly, of the circumference of what we need to do to penetrate.
And during the Cold War, Greenland played a key role in U.S. defense as part of an early warning system. And I love this. The effects of changing climate may also make it easier to tap Greenland's critical minerals. So I guess climate change is a good thing now. It's a silver lining.
There's oil and gas up there, baby.
Vance's comments were echoed by Trump's pick for National Security Advisor, Representative Mike Waltz, who will be National Security Advisor soon, who said the president-elect, quote, is always going to leave all options on the table when pressed if the incoming administration would use military force. Right. So again, let's just chalk this up as another fake media. Everybody freaking out. I'm like, you're not listening. You just want to make it about, I think this is what we have in store for us. The corporate press is going to continue to beclown themselves, if that's even a word.
Yeah, they certainly will.
Beclown indeed. Now, before we get into more detail, because Vance dropped a lot of nuggets during that Fox News Sunday interview I want to get to, but the Washington Post, it's New York Times, Washington Post, when it comes to your, say, prestige legacy newspapers. They're losing that prestige by the day.
Yes, they are.
But the Washington Post internet traffic collapses from 23 million daily users to 3
million. I saw 3. That's a exponential drop.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. And speaking of numbers, the death toll, at least I saw this morning, is now up to 24 dead in L.A. County fires. More still missing.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom was fact-checked live on air about reservoirs being filled. He's like, well, no, the state reservoirs are full, not the so he's already passing the buck.
Sure he is.
Oh, yeah.
That's
calling for investigation.
He called for a Marshall Plan construction. Come on.
Oh, goodness gracious. And then the man detained with a blowtorch near wildfire, which is a viral video because the locals
I saw that.
tried to essentially arrest him. He was ID'd as an illegal immigrant, not charged with arson.
Wow. I'm not surprised, but at the same time, wow. In the middle of what's going on, you're just going to let that go.
Give him a gift Visa card, put him on a plane, and send him somewhere
else. But that's the thing. How do these fires start? I know they've been screaming about the wind. Wind don't start fires.
Well, the latest theory this morning from the Washington Post investigation is that it was a fireworks.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Fire.
But they also said one time the last fire out there started in August was started by hunters. There's no hunting in August out there. So I don't believe.
Well, and they also said it was a fireworks fire that didn't embers seemed to recatch in a different spot later. So I'm like, well, maybe the wind took it, but I don't buy that this is completely natural.
It was a bat in the market, Joey. It was a bat in the market. That's what happened.
Well, and there's already the conspiracy stuff being rolled out. That like, look at the L.A. Project 2028, and it's like, now it's just
myself this weekend.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You're in the conspiratorial
I
frame of
thought,
mind.
and I was like, this is a perfect time to put this out there. No one really bit though.
Oh, goodness gracious. And it's really, it's astounding. Like, you're now getting these graphics, like, from an aerial view of how this thing spread.
And the animation, how it's comes down the hill, and yeah.
And, you know, I know people that have lived in California. If you've watched movies and TV, you've seen a lot of these places, including the Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah. And it looks like the apocalypse. Yep. And I wonder, will Newsom actually pay for this? I doubt it. And this is the issue. It's not like, all of a sudden we'll waive all the regulations and red tape. And it's like, why didn't you do that yesterday, even before there was a huge disaster? You joke.
So did you hear the story? A good friend of mine, he's actually called into the show, Shane Hudson, if he's out there listening. Fire Chief Pentlawis said that he has contact with the firefighters union, and apparently 60 tankers came down from Oregon to help fight the fire.
Oh, yeah.
They were turned away at the border for emissions.
Yeah. Got to check their emissions.
What?
But they brought in the firefighters from Mexico.
Yeah, I know. Of course. Don't worry about what they're not polluting anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I guess the Canadians sent a plane or something.
I think they sent one of their scooper planes.
Yeah.
And they're really proud of it because this is now the new front runner for the new Democratic Party in Canada. What's his name? Jagmeet Singh?
Yeah, Singh. Yeah, he's a Sikh.
And, well, he's talking tough. Like, he's happy. Like, we're very happy in Canada to help our neighbors, but if you're going to push us, we're going to push.
Oh, police.
Right? Like, you don't believe this guy? Let's hear him out first, Eddie.
He's have dinner.
I have a message for Donald Trump. Our country's not for sale. Not now, not ever. I lived across this country, and I can tell you, Canadians are a proud people. We're proud of our country, and we're ready to fight like hell to defend it. Right now, with the forest fires ravaging homes, Canadian firefighters showed up. That's who we are. We show up and support our neighbors. But if you think you can pick a fight with us, there'll be a price to pay. I've committed that if Donald Trump imposes tariffs on us, we should respond with retaliatory tariffs in kind. I think that anyone running as prime minister should do the same.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Trump's telling his back channel advisors, that's not the right guy. Tell him that. I'm not going to deal with that loser.
He's not going to be the guy.
I'm joking, but he's just saying, I don't want that guy. I'm not going to.
Canadians are so weak, they've let the French in. Ottawa.
Oh, like in Quebec?
Yeah.
Yeah.
French are the weakest, and I know you guys disagree with me, but they're the weakest bunch of people I've ever met. They come with their own white flags. So if they have taken over your country.
They keep their one in their back pocket just in case.
Thank you.
Just in case. But you heard about the new French tank, right? The one that's replacing the MX-30.
No.
It's got 1 gear forward and 4 gears in reverse.
Sorry, I just don't have nothing for him, man.
It just is amazing that, again, we're 7 days away from Trump's inauguration on the 20th here. Daddy is almost home. And everybody has a reaction to this. Good, bad, ugly, anywhere in between. It's kind of remarkable what's going on. But I want to now focus in on state and local. I'm looking at a report here at 1819 News that originated in Laniap. According to a report from Mobile's based Laniap, Dale, I guess is Leish is his name, a 3-month snapshot of Governor Kay Ivey's official calendar shows a light schedule chock full of ceremonial events, including ribbon cuttings and school appearances, and very few workdays that go beyond 3 p.m. Heck, that sounds like my schedule.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
She makes a lot more money than you do, though.
Right. Laniap obtained the state's chief executive's schedule from August 14th to November 14th, 2024, which would be a prime time to get out there and do stuff for the state. As we're in the middle of an election, there's all sorts of people pay attention to politics. But the planner shows she had most workdays ending before or right after 3 p.m. during the period examined, and had several instances where there were 2 or fewer events planned. In total, Ivey's days ended at or before 3 p.m., 36 out of the 53 days examined, not including several days in August and September that were just blocked out completely. That means she finished her day after 3 p.m. only 32% of the time.
Dude, how old is she?
80.
How many 80-year-olds do you know that make it past 3?
No, they should be sitting in a comfortable, like my
Exactly.
grandfather when I left the house today, should be sitting in a comfortable chair
That's
reading
my
a
point
book.
Exactly. I said that before. Why would you put somebody in charge of the state that you wouldn't trust to drive down Atlanta Highway?
So did you happen to see the letter to the editor that myself and Sergeant Major Battaglia printed?
I was looking at it this morning, but instead of me just reading it, let's kind of give the long and short.
I mean, it dovetails into what you're talking about. This was actually, our letter was published prior to the 1819 publishing, and I can tell you this, I've spoke to several key state officials. I'm not going to name names, but due to the connections of what I'm doing right now, I've been able to forge relationships, and this is a big concern, a very big concern. In fact, the article that we wrote questioned, and it was originally titled "The Emperor Has No Clothes." Joey, I know you like that analogy, but it's true. And the thing is, what we were trying to compare and contrast was like Representative Granger out in Texas, the debacle with that. Well, this has been going on for some time, so it brings a couple of questions into mind. We asked, how long has this been going on? Who knows about it? Why hasn't the lieutenant governor stepped in? And if he does step in, how long did he know about it? Probably a lot longer than we do. So who's the puppet master?
And for folks who don't remember the Representative Granger story, this is the 81-year-old woman who, also named Kay, who was missing for 6 months, and she was in an assisted living
Does this
facility.
not remind you of the whole Biden administration?
Absolutely. What we did, if you read the article, it's in Lagniappe, or the letter, we compared and contrasted D.C. to Montgomery, and it's the same. It's parallel. So
I'm sorry, but that's what happens when you put someone of that age. They just don't have the energy. We wanted a safe governor. We didn't want one that was going to get busted for sexual harassment again. But we also got one that ends her day by 3 o'clock.
Well, if I'm the fine people of Alabama, I'm going to ask, who the hell? What's going on here? Who's in charge?
And
you know what?
Going back to Jeff Poor's reporting, saying, this is Jeff Poor writing, despite efforts by Ivey's communications team to downplay the concerns, questions persist about the governor's health, leading to speculation about Ivey finishing her term, which was still in question. A handful of medical incidents have spurred those concerns. Recently, she was evaluated for dehydration by paramedics at a campaign event for congressional candidate Caroline Dobson in November. Unreported firsthand accounts of other episodes have also increased in recent years. In 2015, a trooper was allegedly removed from Ivey's protective detail when she was lieutenant governor after telling his superiors that she suffered quote-unquote stroke-like symptoms during a trip to Colorado. Likewise, in 2022, ahead of the general election, more rumors circled that Ivey was experiencing medical complication. Lagniappe co-publisher Rob Holbert acknowledged that their effort to disclose the governor's schedule was not well received by the governor's staff in his Sunday brunch newsletter. Ivey's people were none too happy about our request and seemed to view it as being hostile or unfair. And they did remind us she takes phone calls and has other communications that aren't on the schedule. While I'm sure that's true, Holbert says, it's telling that most of what is on her schedule is saccharine photo op material, many of which we're paying for the state-owned jet to fly her to, by the way. Wow.
So gin doesn't count as a hydrating liquid, gin?
No,
a bit of a dehydrator.
I'm sorry.
But gin's tasty, though.
Oh, it's very good.
Yeah, you have some dangerous stuff with gin. Why don't you grow up, Peter Pan, with your Busch Light over there?
It's just, if you're going to have liquor, I mean, gin, gin. If you're 90 years old and hanging out at the retirement center, gin is the drink.
Well, you know what? This is a true story, that it's the preferred drink of alcoholics because, believe it or not, the holly bush, which it is processed from, is it's akin to the poppy.
Oh,
so you got the heroin kind of crossover.
Oh, so you get that sort of body
body drunk.
Like I'm getting rid of the inflammation, Doc. Don't be putting turmeric in my face, Doc. Oh wow! Now I want to throw a bit of a curveball here, though. It'll be my op-ed coming out tomorrow for 1819news.com. It'll be out there, and the title of it is "I pray Governor Kay Ivey doesn't resign." So, Governor Ivey said in her second inaugural, in part, she said, quote, "I stated earlier we have a full 4 years in front of us. said Ivey. Let me offer this reminder to my fellow elected officials. The people of Alabama deserve our very best. Thank you for the platitudes. Future generations of Alabamians deserve our hardest work today. So let us not forget, our service cannot be about the next election. It is about serving the people of our state, giving them what they need and deserve from their government. Again, that is in part what Kay Ivey had to say in her second inaugural address. Though I have always and often suspected the opposite will come to pass, I pray Alabama Governor Kay Ivey doesn't resign before her full term is up. Despite now serving as the oldest current governor in the United States, Ivey's fulfillment of her second term has become bigger than her legacy or any legislative agenda she may pursue in her final 2 years. Indeed, Ivey finishing out her last 2 years of service is now all about the next election. In March of 2022, before the GOP gubernatorial primary of that year, I posed this question. Now here's a rude, unspeakable question. If reelected, will Governor Ivey be physically and mentally capable of responsibly fulfilling the duties of her office for another full term? The honest answer is, I don't know. I would like to say yes. There would be even some comfort in a confirmed no. Instead, I am left to the suspicions of my own ears and eyes, provided while hearing scurrilous rumors through the grapevine. I suspect I'm not the only one in Alabama who has thought of this, especially Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. Ainsworth is himself running for re-election. Again, I wrote this in 22, unopposed, and is now supporting Ivey's own bid despite heated public disagreements over COVID policy. There is a good, at least non-zero probability Will Ainsworth will inherit the governor's mansion and gubernatorial incumbency just as Kay Ivey did in 2017. Now, fast forward, of course, Ivey easily won re-election in 2022, as did Will Ainsworth. Both have just begun their third year of service to the people of Alabama in their respective positions of authority. Yet, the suspicions, whispers, and speculations over Ivey's health have not subsided in the interim. Recall when, not long after Ivey's re-election, the political winds carried whispers of her decline in August 2023, especially after Ivey was a no-show at a major GOP dinner. Now, I remember that because it was the Attorney General of this state, Steve Marshall, introduced the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi. And then United States Senate candidate Katie Britt introduced United States candidate Herschel Walker. And then when it came time for Governor Kristi Noem to speak as the final address of the evening, Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth introduced him. And John Wall, the GOP party chair here in Alabama, was wise, very at the beginning of the event, go, well, Kay Ivey couldn't make it tonight, but she showed resilience and hospitality meeting Governor Noem at the airport. At that time, I wrote this. I suggested only one thing could put the rumors of her health and demise to rest. Time. Enough time to prove the doubters of Ivey's health wrong. Say 4 years' time. The clock is ticking. But if there is indeed any seed of solid truth to these health rumors, rest assured the wind will continue to carry the whispers to the chattering classes, even to those of us who would rather stay home and not hear what they have to say. Now, more recently, a deluge of social media praise from state agencies for Ivey, y'all saw this right after the new year, reignited cynical speculation that she wouldn't fulfill her full term and would soon resign her position. To crib a line from H.L. Mencken, when Alabama's political watchers smelled those flowers on offer to Ivey, they looked around for her political coffin. Mind you, I don't say cynical speculation as an insult, else I insult myself. I, too, am an unrepented, cynical speculator over such matters. I, too, looked for Ivey's political coffin after catching a whiff of those flowers. I recently even referred to Ivey as governor in name only, Gyno, because of such speculations over her fortitude and endurance to finish her full 4 years of service. Truth is, I only entertain such speculations not because I hope them to be true, but because my cynical mind simply suspects them so. Indeed, what we most often pray against is what we suspect to be true despite our hopes. Again, my hope and prayer is for Ivey to serve out her full 4 years as Alabama's governor, not because I love Kay Ivey's leadership, nor because I fear Ainsworth's. Ainsworth may, in fact, be the golden goose Alabama needs, while Ivey will probably never quite satisfy me in what I'm looking for in a political leader. Yet I pray all the same for Ivey's endurance and fortitude. I pray this because Alabama deserves an open gubernatorial race without someone running as an incumbent governor. Not since the 2010 governor's race has there been an open field without the power of the incumbency at play. By 2026, that will have been 16 years. Incumbency should be earned at the ballot box, not inherited because of some scandal or the tragedy that awaits all of us lucky enough to grow old. Without an incumbent governor in the race in 2026, the people of Alabama are much more likely to deliver a surprise to the establishment of Montgomery, a populist surprise that will give the people of our great state what they need and deserve from their government. So even though I've been, right there with everybody in Alabama media going, well, maybe I've had people whisper in my ear. I've had folks say, I saw her here and this thing happened. And sometimes I think, well, is that person a partisan against her? They have an axe to grind. Right. You just, whatever. But there's a lot of smoke here. And honestly, I don't want there to be the fire that she can't actually fill this out. I can't imagine if we have another lieutenant governor inherit that mansion, because you better believe Will Ainsworth's going to be hard enough to beat. Not saying he would be bad. He'll be hard enough to beat on his own as lieutenant governor. If that guy gets the governor's mansion in the next year, it's almost impossible to beat him unless maybe your name's Tuberville.
So one of the things that come to mind is, I believe, based upon some of the research I've been doing, is that there was a drug deal made between Ainsworth and probably the Ivey camp, saying, "Hey, you'll get the reins. Yeah, you just don't run in this election against us, and you'll get your just desserts." So here's the thing: you speak of a populist, and I've got to go back. The big wild card here is when Admiral Kent Davis's lawsuit drops and Discovery.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're listening out there at the State House, there's a storm coming, because that Discovery is going to open a lot of avenues to what's been going on, and it won't bear out well for you.
Well, and that power play, which is, I think, the best way to describe it, that power play really exposed the issue here.
Oh, sure.
It made people go, wait, she did that? Or who did that?
Yeah, who did that? Right.
Yeah, what team of people, what committee actually did that? So we'll see. Am I wrong to pray for that, though?
No. Not on the logical sense. No, not at all. Yeah, I get it.
It's just, we'll see. I would love to see 2026 as a real competition.
Yeah, me too.
And talking with Jeff Poore last week, that's when the people of Alabama tend to surprise. Nobody thought Robert Bentley would get that thing. And yet he did. Now, I think Bentley would have been, well, Bentley's a whole other story. I'll leave the man alone. Like, if you're a guy, you kind of get it.
At that age and having that happen,
not excuse
change everything.
You can understand it, but you don't.
I had a good friend, Judge Jim Perdue. I don't know if you know him. And if you're out there, Jim, he made a funny joke. He goes, and Jim was his commissioner of mental health, right?
Okay.
He said you'd be surprised what a man would do, or what would do, a 73-year-old man would do after that kind of incident.
Oh yeah. It's like, man, who cares about politics? I just want to do this all day. Hey, is there any way I can get off at 3?
You can get off anytime you can.
We got to hit this break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you've been experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone. And it could be a whole basket of symptoms. It could be lack of energy, motivation, and drive, including a decrease in your libido, a decrease in your sex drive. You're seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and it's not like your eating habits or activity levels have changed, but you're still experiencing that all the same. You just mentally and physically don't feel like yourself. Well, knowing whether you have low testosterone is huge in combating these sorts of issues. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health can conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. Really, it's just a quick blood draw. It's very simple, folks. And then if you do have low T, they have treatments there for low T at Montgomery Men's Health that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to montgomerymenshealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
We have a little Gulf Coast disturbance drifting by the area this morning. Otherwise, kind of a chilly Monday forecast with temperatures still running way below normal. High temperature today, fairly up to about 50. Tonight, we're headed back to the 20s. I've got us around 26 for the overnight low temperature. For tomorrow, high temperature near 50, a brisk day, but we're dry. Upper 20s on Tuesday night. Good bit of sunshine Wednesday and Thursday, but still way below normal with highs in the low to mid 50s. And that high temperature on Friday of 60 starts to sound pretty good. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the health care of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Before you buy new floors at a discount store and get them installed by the cousin of a friend who does this kind of thing, consider the better option. Prattville Carpet carries the most reputable brands for selection, style, and quality you can trust. And with their non-transferable lifetime installation warranty, you'll never have to worry about hardwood warping or carpet buckling. Your floors will stay as beautiful as the day they installed them.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now, this part of the program brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market, and I know, Eddie, you've been down to Sweet Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been down to
Oh
Sweet
yeah,
Creek?
I live down that way, so you know.
Almost your backyard there.
Yeah, go find Reed
yeah.
Ingram there, folks. It's just 2 miles south of Taylor Road on Highway 231. And man, they have a great shop there. Award-winning cafe. Grab a great lunch, or maybe you're just looking to grab a hot cup of coffee while the kids play out in the playground area, chase the chickens or something like that. It's a really great atmosphere. But of course, they have fresh produce, baked goods like those hubcap-sized cookies or layer cakes, or I think they even make little personal ones.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, or you need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Eddie, 2 cakes.
I will.
Yeah. And of course, they have all sorts of gifts that, an unexpected gift at an unexpected time goes a long way. It doesn't have to be Christmas for you to grab a little gift, especially an Alabama-made thing you're not going to find anywhere else. So what you need to do is follow Sweet Creek Farm Market on Facebook, or just get by there again, 2 miles south of Taylor Road on Highway 231. Find Reed Ingram there at Sweet Creek. You can also talk to Karen Ingram as well, but find Reed and tell him that Joey and Eddie and Troy, those guys on the radio, sent you. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. We're kind of awaiting a call from a sponsor here. So one thing I want to jump into, just keep the mood going, more classic Trump. Now, this is not that long ago. This was during the campaign. You remember when he did that economic forum with the Economic Club of Chicago? Mm-hmm. And the CEO there, very well prim and proper, well put together guy, very rich guy, you can tell, very competent CEO or financial officer. And him and Trump are going back and forth about tariffs. And this moment ensues.
What is the Wall Street Journal now? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What is the Wall Street Journal now? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
you're trying to turn. You're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people. There are business
you're wrong.
people.
You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this.
Why
stuff.
is this reminding me of that Monty Python skit? Like, you were looking for an argument? No, that's just a contradiction. You're just saying.
How about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, I call him.
Newsom. But do you think?
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, what is
That's just classic Trump. No, and I got a feeling for folks who don't like the guy, it's only going to get worse for them. And for folks who love the guy, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
They're going to be losing their mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Trump really did, at the end of the day, get an upgrade with J.D. Vance.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
And J.D. Vance, I think, is going to be an even better Trump translator or communicator than I think Mike Pence ever was.
An apologist, if you will, but not in a religious sense, just in a political sense.
Oh, this is what
he meant was.
Well, and in a way that, like, Trump did Rogan, and then J.D. Vance does Rogan, and they're completely different.
Yeah,
people.
sure they are.
And Trump's never going to change at this point in his life, nor should he. So here's Vance kind of getting ahead of a narrative that's about to be out there as Trump is sworn in and as the crackdown on illegal immigration commences. Let's listen in.
Who are humanitarian activists and others who are worried about these deportations, saying families are going to be separated, people are going to be put in tents and in terrible conditions. They have real concerns about the way you plan to actually mete out those things you're planning to do.
Yeah, so this term is something you're going to hear a lot in the next couple of months, the next couple of years, Shannon. Family separation. I think it's important. That's a euphemism. That is a dishonest term to hide behind the fact that Joe Biden has not done border enforcement. If you say, for example, in the United States, we have a guy who's convicted of a violent crime and has to go to prison. We want that guy to go to prison. But yes, it does mean that that guy is going to be separated from his family. That is the consequence of committing violence upon your fellow citizens. If you come into this country illegally, you need to go back home. You need to have basic law enforcement. And what the Democrats are going to do is they're going to hide behind this. They're going to say that this is all about compassion for families.
This is perfect. This is the exact strategy you need to go with it. It's not your own talking points. It's more you call out, here's the game they're playing. You call it out early. You call it out often. For instance, a lot of Republicans who were wise were doing this with the whole switcheroo. Let's switch out Biden for Kamala. I think Vivek Ramaswamy called it out on the debate stage a year before it happened. And many others, including J.D. Vance, were calling it out. And so when the switch did happen, a lot of folks go, oh, damn, they're right. And it just takes little moments like that where you keep chipping away and you bring more people into the fold. And this guy, I mean, this one-on-one on Fox News, J.D. Vance, I think is a true winner and a fantastic pick. Now, I was asked last week, I think, by Electra Obama about, should Trump pardon the violent people on January 6th?
J6.
And I would say my instinct is like, no, but I would look at every single one case by case. Like, what do you mean by violent?
You have to define that, right? I mean, they could say that the protesters were violent, but they really weren't. I mean,
right. So it's like, what do you actually? Well, J.D. Vance was asked the same question because, again, Trump was asked about this, and Trump said, well, we'll be looking at it. Yeah. He didn't give a definitive, like, yeah, that guy who smashed a cop in the face, we're going to let him out of prison. Like, that's not what he said. Let's listen into Vance.
January 6th pardons, President Trump says there's a process. Where is the line drawn on who will and wouldn't be considered for a pardon?
I think it's very simple. Look, if you protested peacefully on January the 6th and you've had Merrick Garland's Department of Justice treat you like a gang member, you should be pardoned. If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. And there's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law. And there are a lot of people, we think, in the wake of January the 6th who were prosecuted unfairly. We need to rectify that.
Definitely.
Yeah. It makes common sense. It's just common sense. And it really is amazing how these fake media narratives, it's now like just like flicking a booger off your finger at this point. It's like it doesn't stick at all.
Yeah. But they keep throwing them out there.
I know. They're going to keep, spitballs going. Yep. It's like, y'all are gross. And speaking of, I think the creepiest creature in all of media, Jennifer Rubin, she has now resigned from the Washington Post, and she's going to start her own independent thing.
With somebody I saw.
Somebody gave her some money.
God.
Here, go away.
Good riddance, go away. And I think you're going to see more and more of that. These folks that were propped up by these prestige organizations who have never been all that interesting and really have been just provocateurs that'll sell the latest party line. Like, come on. We're done with you. We're done with you completely. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Why don't you try him again?
Yeah, just send him a text. I'll try him again.
All right. Again, 272-9228. But I don't think Vance was done there. In fact, Vance lays out what we've been saying on these airwaves quite a bit. This is the longest transition ever. And what the Biden administration has done, Biden himself, but more his team propping him up, it's just absolutely, well, a mess.
I wish Joe Biden all the best, but the fact is he has left us dumpster fire, not just at the border, but also with the economy. First of all, we know that prices are way too high for many Americans. We have to work every single day to stabilize prices for American families. But Shannon, everything that he's bragging about ignores the fact that he has added trillions and trillions of dollars to the federal debt during a time of peace. He has left us with bond yields, meaning how are we going to finance that debt? We have to sell Treasury bonds. And the Treasury bonds have gotten more expensive because of Joe Biden's policies. So you go issue after issue. Oil prices are now shooting through the roof in the final 2 months of Joe Biden's administration, in part because of decisions that Joe Biden has made over the last few weeks. He actually hasn't left the American people in good economic condition. That's why they made Donald J. Trump the president-elect of the United States. So we've got a lot of work to do. I remain fundamentally, and you know this, Shannon, I'll always be an optimist about our country, but I think that that optimism has to start with a bit of realism. And the real truth is that Joe Biden has left us a dumpster fire. Donald Trump is going to have to put it out, but he's good at doing that.
I like that guy. I can't wait to see him actually sworn in as the vice president of this country.
Next week, baby.
Hmm?
Next week, baby.
Yeah, just 7 days.
Yep.
We're just 7 days away, and then Daddy will be home.
That's Uncle JD, by the way.
Uncle JD.
Uncle JD.
Daddy Trump and Uncle JD.
That's our family. Yeah.
I love that. And actually, Melania did an interview. And honestly, I could give a damn what first ladies have to say.
However.
But I have a...
She's classy.
I kind of have a thing for accents, I've discovered. It doesn't have to be like a British bird like
Green
last
Acres.
week.
Like Green Acres.
Yeah, exactly. So here's Melania kind of laying out, well, let's just hear her out.
Behind the scenes, what is it like when you're moving back in the White House? What's different this time?
The difference is I know where I will be going. I know the rooms where we will be living. I know the process. The first time was challenging. We didn't have much of the information. The information was upheld for us. From previous administration, but this time I have everything. I have the plans. I could move in. I already packed. I already selected the furniture that needs to go in. So it's very different.
Hard-hitting stuff right there. I know the room.
Well, she did say something hard-hitting, that it was held up when Trump made his initial. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We don't know where the keys are at, kind of thing, you know?
Oh, it's, here, let's keep going. But isn't it a thing that people judge, especially a man, by his spouse, by his wife?
Some men do, yeah.
Like, that's the one you picked.
Right.
Oh, some men do. I remember the first time I met the head white guy at Hyundai and saw his wife. I thought it was his mom. Lost a lot of respect for that dude.
Yeah, but at the same time, a good wife can really make a guy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know, so I mean, it cuts both ways. Yeah.
No, I'm just looking at her and listening to her, and I think she does speak like 5 languages.
She's very classy. Yeah, she does.
I'm like, and not just the guy picked them, the gal picked them.
Yeah.
The gal picked the guy. So let's keep going with this. I'll hear it out.
A transition this time, second time around.
Will you decorate it exactly like it was before, or are you making changes?
A little bit of changes, not much.
How have the Bidens been? Have they been accommodating, and are they still living there?
They're still living there, and they will be out on January 20. So what happened is on January 20, the transition team has only 5 hours to move Biden's out and to move us in. So everything needs to be planned to the minute.
How are you feeling about the busy schedule again, hitting the ground running on the 20th?
Very busy. We already started, and I think it will be an exciting 4 years. We have a lot to do and put the country back in shape.
7 days.
Almost.
7 days, baby. 7 days. How about this? Let's hit a break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott.
The wildfires that erupted last week across Los Angeles County are far from contained, but they're already expected to be the costliest in U.S. history and among the worst natural disasters. A federal judge says the Justice Department can release special counsel Jack Smith's investigative report on President-elect Donald Trump's 2020 alleged election interference case. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon had earlier temporarily blocked the department from releasing that report. Melania Trump says she's packed and ready for the move back into the White House next week. The incoming First Lady also says she plans to revive her children's initiative and that an upcoming Amazon Prime Video documentary about her life was her idea. The Dow up 203 points, the Nasdaq dropping 172. This is SRN News.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Making America Great Again starts with making America healthy again. I lost 40 pounds with the PhD weight loss and nutrition program, and 2 years later, I haven't gained a pound back. I started the PhD weight loss and nutrition program because I needed to be healthy to keep up with my crazy schedule. Most people start a weight loss program to get healthier. So why is Big Pharma spending millions to convince you to use their weight loss injections that do just the opposite? Do your homework. Weight loss injections have harmful side effects and lifelong dependency. Take a natural approach that isn't connected to Big Pharma's bottom line. PhD changes the way you think about food. You'll learn to quiet cravings and finally release the unhealthy belly fat. PhD weight loss is leading the charge to make America healthy again. Text the word healthy to 717767 or visit myphdweightloss.com. That's the word healthy to 717767. It's worked for me. It'll work for you. 717767. Text the word.
Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
We have a little Gulf Coast disturbance drifting by the area this morning. Otherwise, kind of a chilly Monday forecast with temperatures still running way below normal. High temperature today, barely up to about 50. Tonight, we're headed back to the 20s. I've got us around 26 for the overnight low temperature. For tomorrow, high temperature near 50, a brisk day, but we're dry. Upper 20s on Tuesday night. Good bit of sunshine Wednesday and Thursday, but still way below normal with highs in the low to mid 50s. And that high temperature on Friday of 60 starts to sound pretty good. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you or apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Residents at South Montgomery's Serenity Townhomes have been without water since Tuesday. Apparently, theft of copper from vacant apartments caused flooding, resulting in the water being shut off. Residents say they are still expected to pay full rent and have been told to buy their own water. Serenity Townhomes management refused to comment. A Tallahassee man has been killed in a weekend wreck in Elmore County. 23-year-old Gavin Prescott Young was driving a car that collided with a pickup truck and was pronounced dead at the scene. The wreck happened late Friday night on Taylor Road, about 4 miles southeast of Tallahassee. The city of Montgomery is in the process of improving community centers in the area. In addition, Mayor Stephen Reed says they are nearing completion on the all-new Kalmar Community Center. 4 other community centers currently undergoing upgrades will be finished sometime this year. The project is being funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Folks, let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Baranco with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today, sir?
Having a great Monday, Joey. How about y'all?
Oh, we're having fun already. Kind of playing some classics of Trump, getting ready. Only 7 days away. Of course, a lot of stuff you were explaining on Friday seems to be playing out in the markets today.
Yeah, I completely agree. We had another committee meeting this morning, and the same topic was discussed again. So I think it'll be, a hot topic coming into the first, 3 months of the Trump presidency is how he and, Vance, his Treasury selection, is going to handle terming out this debt. There are some, big money movers in the industry that are beginning to look at the longer end of the yield curve. 20, 30-year Treasuries, really anything above 10-year, is starting to, ease higher on the yields, which can be good and bad depending on your perspective. We don't really say one way or the other if we think, high yields are good or bad. It just depends on how you're positioned. But for most people, I'd say that we work with, they are very low-risk investors. We're not here trying to have 50, 100% annual returns. Most of our clients are people who work really hard for their money, and when they trust somebody like us with it, they're looking for low-risk investments. And so right now there's potentially an opportunity in the coming months to rotate out of some of these higher risk positions into some U.S. Treasuries with higher yields and longer duration. And so I try not to look at it as a negative, but I do think that the broader market and the news cycle for the next couple of months could be pretty tough to watch with a lot of volatility. So, if you're out there listening and you're somebody who, doesn't want to take a ton of risk, but is still interested in a reasonable annual return, that's what we strive to do here is generate returns for clients with low risk compared to our benchmarks.
And y'all's focus isn't just on, say, the investment portfolio side. That's part of it. But you're really looking particularly to the client's sort of all of the above approach, like end-of-life concerns, life insurance, just what's best for, say, somebody owns a small business. Y'all are really curtailing this to the client specifically.
Absolutely. And that's why I was hesitant to say that, what's going on in the broader market is good or bad. It totally depends on the client. If you've got a young 30-year-old doctor out there who's making $500,000 a year and wants to take some risk, we've got an option for you. If you're 75 years old and you have children and grandchildren and you want an estate plan in place and you've worked your whole life to amass wealth and you don't want to expose any of it to risk and maybe look at tax advantages in your estate plan and passing on generational wealth, that's a whole different look. So, we're not going to sit here and make walk through the door and give you a cookie cutter solution. We got to understand who you are and what your needs are. And I think that's really what differentiates us, Joey, is anyone out there can talk about the stock market, but can you apply it to, 100 different people in the right way? And I think that we've proven, over the last 30 plus years that's our specialty is taking individual situations and focusing on what's best for that individual.
Again, folks, we've been talking to Austin Barranco with Invista Advisors. You can always go to InvistaAdvisors.com or give them a call direct at 387-0094. Again, that's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them when you get in touch that you heard Austin Barranco here on the radio with that Joey Clark fella.
Listen, thank you so much, Joey.
Appreciate it, Austin. We'll talk again soon. Again, Austin Barranco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
We have that time of year where storms roll through. A lot of times we're seeing a lot of power outages, in which we do install whole home generators.
You can keep your power on, absolutely. Generac generators.
Peace of mind knowing you always got standby power. About 30 seconds where you don't have power, those generators kick back on like nothing ever happened. When storms roll in, sometimes the lights go out. But here at Mr. Electric, we'll never leave you in the dark.
It's the electric power to make things better.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Fat broads and horse state.
Shut up, silly woman.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Eddie Bader and Troy Carrico here in the studio with me. And again, the number is 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. And we have some comments rolling in, and he says, Sad Guru says that's a killer shamag.
Thanks. Thank you, sad one. I appreciate that.
What is that?
Shamag is it's a traditional garment that's worn usually in the Middle East, some Mediterranean countries, Lebanon and stuff do. It's ideal for protecting you from the elements in the sands, so in sun. So thanks, I appreciate that. My wife picked that out for me once again.
No, it's not. It's like a scarf, but a little
It's a scarf. It folds over in half,
Okay.
and then there's actually tactical shamags, which are more of face mask coverings and things like that. But this is more of a fashion shamag. But it could be used if I were inserted into Saudi Arabia or into somewhere in the desert. I could use this effectively.
No doubt.
Now, in Alabama news, did y'all see that a guy who ran for governor last time is now running for lieutenant governor?
Dean
Odle.
Thought so.
Yeah.
Opelika Pastor Dean Odle announced that he will run for Alabama lieutenant governor. Odle ran in the Republican primary against incumbent Ivey and 7 others in 2022. He's the founder and senior pastor of Fire and Grace Church and School of Ministry in Opelika, also the author of 4 books. In 2022, Odle's platform included speaking out against mandatory vaccines, states' rights, and school choice. And I remember having him on the show, and I liked Dean. Seemed to have a good sense of humor, seemed to have the right sense about him. But then he's kind of a flat Earth guy.
Flat Earther?
He is, yeah.
Now, I'm one who always likes a little bit of chaos, a little bit of trouble out there. So I love this idea that Alabama gets Space Command.
Yeah.
Like Trump puts Space Command back in Huntsville, Alabama. And then Alabama elects Dean Odle lieutenant governor.
So we're going to help improve the theory?
Yeah, no, it's just like make a whole thing out of it. Like have him go up there and tour the facilities.
He would say the moon landing that was in a basement somewhere.
I said that to Jay one time.
Yeah,
he gets a little upset with that.
Okay,
yeah,
our producer.
If you ever want
He didn't like that, huh?
ever want to rise him up? Yeah, say, hey, dude, you know that was made in Hollywood.
Oh boy!
And give it about 2 seconds.
I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole. But I mean, there are people that firmly believe we never went to the moon.
You know what's funny? You talk about Space Command and Redstone and all that. I've been up there several times, and you know how that came about, right? You know the story on why the rocket program migrated down to Huntsville. You familiar with it?
No,
I'll do a quick story. It's very interesting. So when the Germans that we acquired at the conclusion of the war we were looking to relocate them to the United States.
Right.
They wanted to pick a place, and they had the German wives.
And this is Operation Paperclip.
Yep. And they're going through, during Operation Paperclip, they're determining where the locations are at, and they settled on North Alabama because it most resembled some of the Bavarian terrain. And
Interesting.
So that's kind of how that came into being.
I didn't know that because it was hardly developed, right?
And it was not at all.
Yeah.
So they broke ground there, and they started that program there.
Yeah, and apparently there's some beautiful old homes that were built.
Yep.
And those guys working at that time during the Cold War built secret bunkers under their own homes because they were so worried. So I hope we get Space Command. It seems like the exact right fit.
It's coming. It's coming.
Like past, they do all these tests and all these, merit-based, things they run every location through. And Huntsville was number one in all of them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but Huntsville's red, not blue.
Well,
Well, that's what you get when you have engineers and lawyers.
Yeah, especially the second one.
Or either one. That's right.
272-9228. Best of luck to Dean.
Oh,
Dean
yeah.
Odle.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't necessarily dislike it.
Not
It's
at all.
just that would be that would be a bit much. Now, and again, this whole dynamic of Trump will be in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of folks in the media. One who is like, just you look at her and just look at this broad, Leslie Stahl.
Ay.
Is right. Oh my goodness. Well, she has the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon.
Yeah.
On. And they get into this exchange. She tries to kind of get him to talk bad about Daddy.
Oh.
Let's listen in.
Of advice for the new president. He is inheriting a pretty good economy, despite what people feel. All these
Despite of how broke you are, he's inheriting a good economy.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to talk, Leslie? Anyway.
metrics that you see. But what about advice to him on some of the policies that he's threatening to do that could hurt the economy? For instance, tariffs. Have you talked to him about tariffs? If you could talk to him right now, what would you say?
I have not spoken about tariffs. I think you should read The Art of the Deal. He's a negotiator. He lays out some very tough things, and sometimes it works. We have to worry more about national security, resiliency, diversified supply chains, and we didn't. And also we should have worried more about who it hurt. So while trade's got some enormous benefits, it does hurt that town where the plant closed. We had a thing called trade adjustment assistance.
I don't think this is the answer Leslie Stahl was
No,
looking
I don't think so either.
Which was supposed to give people retrain, relocation, income assistance if they were hurt by trade. It never quite worked. And so we need to focus on some of those issues. And to me, tariffs are a tool, properly used, that can help get some of those issues resolved. Unfair competition, national security issues. If like any tool, if it's misused, it can do damage too.
But your point is that you think it is a legitimate negotiating tool.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Every country is allowed to make its own unilateral actions. If you look at what China's been doing for years, they do this already. They've been doing
threaten and...
No, they put up their own tariffs, their own laws, their own rules,
They
their
didn't
own
threaten, they
regulations.
do it.
Take a lot of
They do it.
unilateral
Yeah,
actions
that's
that
right.
they think are in their own best interest. So it's not bad for our government to do that. That tool may be a useful tool, properly used.
Not the price of eggs.
No, of course. No,
That's
inflation.
part of it, folded into it.
It was inflation. It was all the money that was given out. If you go to a rural area and you look at all the things that were done, those things like, even EV credits, all this green stuff, they don't look like it benefited them. They still didn't have jobs. Incomes didn't go up. Their schools weren't working. Yep. So you got to be very careful when you analyze what happened in our society about why people looked at these and said, this didn't work for me. I'm quite sympathetic. I do a lot of work with my wife in inner cities in New York.
So he knows.
And she's been doing work in the Bronx for years. It's hard to look at parts of the Bronx and say, this worked. And this has been going on for 30 years. So, it's time that we fix some of these things. And yes, I hope we can do it.
I think she's going to try one more time to get him to say a bad thing about Trump. You're going to try one more time.
Your relationship with him? Story, we all read that you called to congratulate him.
Leslie Stahl, take a lesson from Vince McMahon. I know he's not a great guy and everything, but Vince McMahon will always tell his announcers pronouns, pal.
That's right.
Don't say him, you say Donald Trump. You say Donald Trump again. You never use a pronoun. Anyway, him. No, it's Donald Trump, Leslie.
And he wouldn't take the call?
No, that wasn't true.
It wasn't true?
No, I did not speak to him. I called and left a message with his staff, who said they called back and said they gave the president a message and he appreciated it. That's all that happened. I've not spoken to the president for a long time. I have called some of his people and offered my help, which I am going to do as best as I can. So a lot of them can't talk at this point because they're in confirmation process.
But
and he made a very nice tweet about me. I thought it was very sweet, that I won't be Secretary of Treasury, appreciates what I've done for my company and my country.
Okay. Part of this game, we went over this with Zuckerberg too. It's not like you got to trust Jamie Dimon. Good God, no. Or trust Mark Zuckerberg or any of these Johnny-come-latelys. Right. But here's why I'm kind of celebrating all these changes of heart. It's because it shows which way things are now going. it shows a huge victory. If you put the right pressure and the right incentives on these folks that, again, you don't have to trust them. You don't even have to believe them. You can watch them like a hawk and in fact, they might be the first to stab you in the back if things go wrong. But it's beautiful to see everybody starting to toe the line to a degree and say, well, it's a different world. And it seems that the line that the corporate press was trying to push, hardly anybody in a position of power is buying it anymore.
Well, you're right. And I think we talked about this, I think the last time I was in here, the power of their spell, the media's magic is weak. Yeah. And now we see people, the scales falling literally from eyes and saying, I better figure this out because I've got 4 years with this guy. Yeah. And I honestly believe a populist mandate was created. A lot of people want to argue that with me on.
I agree with you.
I believe that people spoke loudly on several key things, and he embodies all of them. So.
Agreed.
Well, and here's a great example of this this mentality that's out there. This is execrable. I don't want to play this because just the tone. It is an Atlantic podcast where they're doing it in the style of a panel show. And it's Jeffrey Goldberg hosting it, the liar, a paid liar who's, oh man,
misinformation. Man.
But this is a PBS reporters you're going to hear talk about the change that's happened. So I don't want to play this, but I think it's good for everybody's edification. Let's listen in.
Thank you all for being here. I want to talk a little bit about the terrible fires in Los Angeles and around Los Angeles. And I want to talk about it in the context of Washington politics and national politics for a moment. So in ordinary times, a president or a president-elect will show support for local leadership while they're dealing with an actual emergency in the hour of need, as it were. But this is what President-elect Trump wrote recently on Truth Social, his platform. As of this moment, Gavin Newscomb and his Los Angeles crew have contained exactly 0% of the fire. It is burning at levels that even surpassed last night. This is not government. I can't wait till January 20th. Put aside, if we can, the insult again.
Oh, the insult. Like these, oh my God, these are some of the worst people in the world. Who will upend entire nations and lie about it.
Yeah.
But he called them new scum when his name is Newsome. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious, you namby-pamby weenies. Anyway, let's keep going.
Against the California governor, the cheap insult against the California governor. I'm interested in the implied promise in these posts that come January 20th, government will work and that presumably wildfires like this will be contained. Laura, is there any anxiety on the Trump team about the number of promises that are being made in that kind of way? I mean, it's very hard to hide your failure to contain a wildfire for any official of any party.
No, I mean, there's no sense that I'm getting from the people close to the transition, inside the transition, that are going to enter the administration, any concern about the promises that the president-elect has made, and especially
the woman speaking is a White House correspondent for PBS News. So.
Especially the promises that he said he will just try to carry out on day one, which there is a hefty list. Yeah. You're right that that wildfires are obvious and people can see them, and I'm from Southern California, and I've dealt with wildfires my entire life when I lived there. But the president-elect's team, ultimately revises history whenever they want to. And they did it with January 6th, and more people voted for him in 2024 than they did in 2020. So when you take all of these things that people see in front of their eyes, Trump supporters and voters who supported him ultimately believe him over even what we report and believe him over the facts.
Right. Any day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Even what we report. It's not just Trump we believe over even what you report.
I label her and that pretty much whole newscast a pack of liars. I always have.
They are talking heads for the agenda that the Democratic Party
even as a 19-year-old government brat, when we used to watch that on a regular military over in Turkey, we knew they were all lying. Sure. It was propaganda. That was what was pretty much introduced to us, is this is propaganda.
You know what I find interesting, talking about public TV and propaganda? I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? How does Alabama public TV have the voice on that. Listen, public TV.
No, I want you to get started.
Yeah, I just want to talk about this a little bit.
Please.
Because let's bring it back relevant to people living here, right? Is this stuff that's going on at that level, how does public TV of Alabama, how does their office right next down by the governor's office, isn't that, it's like state-sponsored media.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, and I know, and I'm not going to say any names. I know who they are.
It's awful. Tell me any which way they promote the state in a positive manner. Give me just that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Can you give me something where true belief of the people of the state of Alabama have their voices been heard on there?
No, this is why 1819 News started.
Exactly right.
Right.
Exactly right.
No, because I've heard Brian Dawson give the spiel many, many times, the founder of 1819 News. There was, AL.com that just literally kind of hates the state and is looking for every which way to criticize it for not being, smart like the liberals are or something like that. Then you got bought and paid for media, like Yellowhammer, which is more like, I'm not knocking anybody. I've met people that work at these places. I'm not attacking y'all personally necessarily. Some of y'all I might. But it's more like, here's what Alabama Power thinks. Here's what the Business Council of Alabama thinks. And then
the lobbyists,
the unions.
Like Capital Journal that Todd Stacey does, and I've met Todd, I know Todd, I like Todd. But it's more the insider play. And it's what Montgomery's insiders want you to say. Here's what the scuttlebutt is with our cool little club. And I think what's going to happen is over time that will change. I think
the right person.
That system had been in place for a long time, decades. And so it takes a while for people's habits to change, for consumer habits to change. And a lot of this is going to be like, we just talked about Kay Ivey. She's 80 years old. Why would an 80-year-old want to talk to me? Some like 36-year-old upstart.
Because she needs you to get something down from the high shelf there, Sonny.
Well, I'm not tall, Eddie. Unfortunately.
That one guy thought you were tall. That dwarf guy thought you were tall.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing that sticks in my mind. It was one day, he always makes fun of me for being short.
Okay.
And I'm at Target, and I'm in the men's like hygiene section getting some deodorant.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this like very short, like little Indian guy, like comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, hey, hello, sir. Can you reach up top for the rest of the Rogaine?" And I look at his cart, and he's already got like 20 boxes of Rogaine.
He's going to resell it.
Yeah, and so
reselling it is shop.
And so I don't have to reach much. I just grab it, and he goes, "Oh, thank you, sir. You're such a hero."
Yes, I get multiple discount family group plan. Man.
No, and I was wondering though, like, is he dyeing his whole body there? Like, what is going on with this guy?
Do you? I thought you maybe had a fixation about like small people or something.
No, just
I have a fear, a inherent fear, because they're mostly angry all the time. One time I'll share this with you.
Wait, before you say the thing you're going to share with us, you have a fear of small people.
Yes, I don't like them.
Okay.
I don't like them. It's not I don't like them. I don't trust them. They're very
and it's visceral.
Well, listen, let me tell you what happened to me, and you'll understand why. And it kind of shook me to my foundation. When I got back from Iraq in 2003, my then wife, our friend owned a nightclub in Augusta, Georgia, and they had a surprise party for me. And so they had, it was a really great event. Well, I get there, and I hadn't drank in over a year, so I was probably getting overserved by whoever was serving me. But at any rate, I go out, and my then wife goes, "Let's go on the dance floor and dance. We haven't danced in a year." Okay, let's go. So it's fog and everything out there, and all of a sudden I'm hitting something, Joey, and I'm thinking it's a speaker box or something, and then I hit it again. And I'm like, what the hell is that, right? And then all of a sudden, this little hand tugs out of the mist, my knee, my jeans, and his face comes out of the mist and goes, "Hey, buddy, we're trying to dance down here." And I was like, "Ah!" And I freaked out a little bit, and then a bunch of little faces come out and go, "Yeah, you've been stepping on us the whole night." And so I had to leave. It freaked me out, man. And I left because they were like, "Come on, let's get him." They look like, I don't know. It was not good.
People. You reminded me of Jonathan Swift.
Modest proposal, right? I know, yeah. But it was terrible. That little face, I'll never forget it. It was grimacing like, "Hey, we're trying to dance."
Grabbed you out of the mist.
Yeah, and I was like, "Ah." And I told him, put glow sticks on, or one of those little flags that you put on the back of a bike, so I know you're down there. Put a marker on.
Oh my God, Eddie! You just make fun of me because it's fun to get a rise out of me, but.
Yeah. I don't have fear of short people. I love short people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah. I have no fear of them.
And how tall are you again?
I think 6. I was 6'2", but I think as I'm getting older, I'm shrinking.
You're shrinking?
Yeah.
It does happen.
Yeah, getting the shrinkage.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
But I'm sorry, but that story cracks me
Well,
up.
It's hard to beat that.
There's another story that that actually just exacerbated it and then fixes it, but I can tell you that later.
I can just see this dark and a little bit of fog on the dance floor and this little face coming out yelling at you.
Hey, what are you doing up there? I'm trying to dance.
But it's because you're stepping on something. You're like, what the hell is that? Right? It's a person. It's a person.
But then occasionally you get the little person like, oh, thank you so much for bumping into me. Could you reach for the we need to hit a break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. It won't make you taller. It might make you wider, and it's worth it.
Oh, yes,
it is worth it. I am happy to get a little bigger going to Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. Dadgum, they have good barbecue. Best in the river region. 5 brick pits always going. Hand-pulled meats. Or you could try the Eddie Special, which is go get you some ribs, some spare ribs.
Yep.
And get some camp stew.
There you go.
And you treat the rib like a chip,
like a nacho chip, baby,
into the camp stew.
That's it. That's how you do it.
Yeah, especially in the cold.
It
cold
makes
weather.
it so you can eat ribs on the way home.
Very good point.
And of course, you can always stop by there for lunch, get it to go, or sit down for dinner or lunch. And they also do breakfast there at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And you might be like, barbecue place breakfast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Best in the state, baby.
Yes. The cheese grits, #1, are to die for. They're incredible. One of the best things I've eaten in the last year or two. And then, of course, all the breakfast meats and sides you can think of, custom-made biscuits, breakfast bowls, breakfast sandwiches. I bet they'll put even like pulled pork on a biscuit.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Yeah. So y'all check out Smokehouse Pit Barbecue today. You can always like them on Facebook or just stop by. Same location they've always been, Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell the great folks there at Smokehouse that Joey and Eddie and Troy, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey there, it's Hannah Grantham.
And I'm Eddie Bader. We're with Forest Meadows Homes and Land, and we're here to make your real estate experience unforgettable.
When it comes to buying or selling, who you have on your side really does make a difference.
That's right. We know this market, and we know how to get results. We know how to change that for sale sign into a sold sign.
With our local expertise and commitment to you, we make sure your real estate dreams become a reality. So if you're ready to buy or sell, give us a call today at 334-368-6358.
Honey?
Yeah?
Do you think it's safe using all these extension cords?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Actually, too many extension cords can be dangerous. Call Crosby Electric to add new outlets.
Sure is dark in our yard.
Good. We'll sleep better.
Maybe you will.
Crosby Electric does landscaping lighting for beauty and safety, as well as security lighting for peace of mind.
Oh, darn. The vacuum cleaner just tripped a breaker.
Honey, never vacuum while I'm making popcorn.
Tripping breakers can indicate a potential fire hazard. You really should have it checked out by Crosby Electric, serving the river region for almost 50 years.
Sweetheart, are you ever afraid that lightning could damage our electrical system?
Afraid? Come on. No. Maybe we should call Crosby. You know, just give him a call.
Whole house surge protection can protect you and your possessions. For an assessment and for all your electrical needs, call Crosby Electric 272-2085 or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the river region. Call us or go to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
We have a little Gulf Coast disturbance drifting by the area this morning. Otherwise, kind of a chilly Monday forecast with temperatures still running way below normal. High temperature today, fairly up to about 50. Tonight we're headed back to the 20s. I've got us around 26 for the overnight low temperature. For tomorrow, high temperature near 50, a brisk day, but we're dry. Upper 20s on Tuesday night. Good bit of sunshine Wednesday and Thursday, but still way below normal with highs in the low to mid 50s. And that high temperature on Friday of 60 starts to sound pretty good. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome. Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. That's 334-272-9228. Now, apparently the president, who is still the president, Joe Biden, is speaking live, saying the U.S. is more capable and better prepared than ever, that we need to keep supporting Ukraine, yada, yada, yada. I think Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, came out and said, yeah, the United States is safer and more well protected than ever before. Y'all buy that?
No. Have an American passport now compared to 20 years ago shows you how much the rest of the world does not respect America.
Are we talking about when it comes to Ukraine?
Or just general? I think Sullivan's talking about the whole globe.
Yeah, he's talking about general.
Well, here's my thoughts. That is, like you said, that's a platitude. He's throwing something out there that's not so. But when it comes to Ukraine, I can tell you this: the money spent, the resources spent on defeating the Russian war machine has yielded decades of dominance over them, and has made America safer. Because in the absence of it, American blood has to be paid to defeat the Russian war machine. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my thoughts are, I'm behind. I'm a firm supporter of the Ukraine, and this is maybe where divergence is. But as a libertarian, this is how I feel. Anything that's fighting the two axes, which is China and Russia, is inherently good for us. As a former infantry officer and a combat officer, I can tell you that to me, that's money well spent, gentlemen. So,
but doesn't it push Russia and China together? And I know that there are plenty of smart folks who are like, oh, yeah, that's the whole game. You tie President Xi to President Putin. You'll Xi accountable for what the Russians and Putin are up to. But I also worry that essentially pushing all these forces that would be opposing the United States for all sorts of reasons together is maybe not in our best interest.
Well, it's coalescing. It is coalescing, but let's talk about this. She make no doubt about it. The Sino-Soviet War in the past, and the Russian, Sinos, there is a healthy hatred on both sides. And oh, by the way, one believes their communism was better than the others, right? And then on top of that, that whole area of Siberia, Irkutsk, and that whole area, that used to be of Chinese influence. There's a very real possibility they can come in the back door and take what they want from Russia, and there's nothing Russia can do about it. Nothing. So I think it's a détente, if you will, by playing it. That's my thoughts. I have very much been involved in researching it, working on my PhD. There is very credible evidence that this is a shaping operation and if Trump played his cards right, I'm just throwing this out to you. Mm-hmm. If he really wanted to look like a decisive legacy leader, he puts an end to this war on the terms that you get Russia, you get the hell out of these areas that you're at before, and you draw that line. I'm a firm believer of it. It's force only understands one thing: the power of the sword. Yep. That's all it understands, guys. It's all it understands.
But what I'm wondering, well, here, let's play this clip first. This is the incoming national security advisor for Trump. So forget about what Biden and Jake Sullivan are saying. These are going to be the new guys in charge of foreign policy in the United States and globally. This is Mike Waltz. He's currently a congressman from Florida, but he will be the incoming national security advisor. He's talking about lowering the fighting age, the draft age in Ukraine.
Do you anticipate, will the first meeting with Putin be just Trump and Putin, or will this be trying to bring in Ukraine as well as Zelensky, Putin, and Trump?
Well, we haven't set the exact framework for it yet. We're working on that, but I do expect a call for at least in the coming days and weeks. So that would be a step. We'll take it from there. I will say, the other thing that we're going to need to see is really stabilizing things on the battlefield. And one of the things that we'll be asking of the Ukrainians is they have real manpower issues. Their draft age right now is 26 years old, not 18. I don't think a lot of people realize that. They could generate hundreds of thousands of new soldiers. So when we hear about morale problems, when we hear about issues on the front line, look, if the Ukrainians have asked the entire world to be all in for democracy, we need them to be all in for democracy. And they certainly have fought bravely. They certainly have taken a very noble and tough stand. But we need to see those manpower shortages addressed. This isn't just about munitions, ammunition, or writing more checks. It's about seeing the front lines stabilize so that we can enter into some type of deal.
And he's saying that about the front line stabilizing because last I checked, the Russians are moving
across
all along the front.
Yeah. The funny thing is they've moved into the 3 miles from Pokrovsk, which is a strategic area in the northern part. But oddly enough, Kursk they're acquiring more land into the Russian area, and there's some speculation that they're about 6 miles from a nuclear reactor in Kursk, and that they are going to try to take it.
Is that right?
That's what a lot of the Institute for the Study of War in D.C. is someone I'm subscribed to, and I study this daily, gentlemen. And I can tell you this: when you heard them say they dropped the age down to 26, you know where that was from? Do you know what it was before? 31.
Yeah, I got a problem.
So
with
you got to, you got to get those people involved.
Until you're all in,
That's
don't
right.
ask me for
I'm
nothing.
with you, brother. I'm with you on
Until
that.
you're all in, don't ask me for a damn.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about worry about social unrest. You guys are existentially threatened.
Though I remember certain commentators at the beginning of this saying the policy out of D.C. will be fight to the last Ukrainian. It's not actually defeating the Russians. Maybe it deteriorates the Russians.
It does.
And I just, if you're looking at the flower of your youth, like, okay, the reason you have the man shortage is because everybody above 31, everybody above 26, not all of them, but a lot of them are dead, or if not severely wounded.
Yeah.
And it just makes me go, is this just to have a stronger hand in negotiating? Because that's what it sounds like, for Trump to be able to make a deal.
I think it's posturing, yeah.
And so I don't know. I think it needs to end as fast as possible. If the idea is to strengthen yourself, create this bulwark, and then negotiate with the Russians, I get it, because if you try to negotiate with them now, number one, do the Russians want to talk?
Absolutely.
And number two, they're sitting in position where they have the much stronger hand on the ground in the moment.
And I think if this is played properly, if it plays out properly, pressure on the draft there, getting new units in the field, I think Trump can really benefit from this in a foreign policy sense for his legacy.
And I don't understand all the detailed logistics of it, but how do young conscripts really operate effectively in the middle of it?
They don't. And here's the thing, though. That's why it's imperative they should have been done this last year, because it takes about 6 months or so to get them trained in basic operations, and then whatever their specialty might be, armor, artillery, whatever. So you've got this lag time between here and there. And so you're right. It's problematic, and it should have been done. And I'm thinking that the Trump team has already indicated to the Zelensky administration, you need to lower this and get it done. And, so.
Well, and we'll see. Again, 7 days. 7 days.
So.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of this, whether you're talking economically with tariffs or you're talking with foreign policy, especially this hot war there in Ukraine and Russia, it could be an opening sort of bid. I'll put it that way. That's how I'm looking at a lot of what Trump's doing. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. Biden saying U.S. alliances are stronger than ever before. U.S. foreign power is stronger since 2021. Wait, so the Afghanistan withdrawal doesn't count?
No, not at all.
No, the Russians actually invading cross-border because we're so much stronger now?
Yeah.
The Houthis, come on, it goes on and on.
Oh, the attack on October 7th?
Hamas,
all that. This is just strength. Us us having to team up with, partners in the Middle East to fire at a bunch of Iranian rockets that's strength, right? Now, having all this go on is just it's just such nonsense.
It's our whole administration. It's one big lie. Just been one big lie.
Yeah.
Don't believe what you see. Believe what we tell you.
Well, and it's something I hope. Obviously, I'll put it this way. When you're a national security advisor, you could be like, I'm a Ron Paul guy, and I want to get out of all our engagements all over the world, and like we're just too involved, like bring the troops home, yada yada yada. Like we don't even need NATO. Like I'm going extreme, bring everybody home. We don't need all this foreign adventurism anymore. Most of the people that you're going to look for as national security advisor, if they have any experience to be qualified for that job, probably don't agree. And this is the issue: is most of these chairs are designed for certain butts.
Yeah.
And those certain butts, because of their expertise, are going to think a certain way about the world. Sure. And so we'll see. I hope Trump doesn't make the same mistake he did by picking like John Bolton. I think that was a huge mistake.
Dr. Kissinger.
Right. But we'll see. And you know what? Of all the people, that Atlantic folks actually made a good point. There have been a lot of promises.
Yeah.
A lot of promises. And we'll see how quick not only Trump himself, because I think this administration incoming, the Trump administration, is going to do a lot through executive power. Absolutely. Doge is going to be all about that.
Absolutely.
They call it Schedule F with employees. Think of Schedule A as like your Secretary of State, your defense secretary, your big cabinet positions. B is their deputies. C, they want to create a new category called Schedule F, say they can be hired and fired by the president. And there's going to be a big fight there. But aside from Trump and his administration, how much is the Congress going to play ball and actually getting things done quickly? I think it's a good question. I think there is some hope. We'll get to it a little later in the program. For instance, the Laken-Riley Act seems to be advancing with Democrat support. So we'll have Senator Britt talking about that. I guess she went on with Jake Tapper on CNN. But that's a big part of this. How much will the Congress actually be ready to hit the ground running and move quickly on these
Going
things?
back to the Schedule Fs with the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, having worked in multiple bureaus of the government as a GS-15, which is the highest level you get to special executive service, which is in like generals, civilian generals, and where I was at was like a full-bird colonel or a captain in the Navy. I learned something, that it isn't the president, it isn't even the director or the bureau chief of the agency you're serving in. It's those GS-15/SES-1s that will wait out government policy. And if you don't clean that up, I don't care what you do on the top or on the bottom, you got to clean out those we'll wait them out people, and that's who they are. So that's what Schedule F is going to address, I think.
And I think also Ramaswamy has some interesting legal theories based on Supreme Court precedent and U.S. code, U.S. law, that you can do mass layoffs.
Sure.
That the civil service protection are for individual firings of political nature, not for mass layoffs for restructuring purposes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it'll be interesting, that fight. But let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Yes, this is Robert.
Hey, how are you?
Just fine. These fellows are talking about the Ukraine. Do you realize that Russia's been dealing with this ball worshiping out since 740 A.D.?
Yep.
And the Russian people have been Orthodox Christian Russian Church for 1,050 years, longer than any other people of a nation. And what we're dealing with, when Russia, it was a special military operation. They liberated 30,000 children that were involved in human trafficking, to the point of even taking these children to facilities, stripping them naked on the first floor and taking them to the second floor and harvesting them.
Yep. Their
blood for adrenochrome and organs. This is what was going on, and it's what's going on in the Ukraine.
Yep.
It's the most criminal, evil country. It's the source of the Rothschilds, the Bowers, and the Schiffs came from there. They converted to Judaism. Russia gave them a chance. They said, well, if you'll get your people, morality of your people back up. Now Russia wants us to have our sovereignty. They have been our ally since before the Revolutionary War. They've been a Christian nation until the Bolsheviks were shipped in by the City of London and the New York bankers with $20 million in gold and 250 thugs they trained on Long Island. The Warburg brothers took them through Germany. Now, I'm tired. You guys are total idiots. You act like you're the god.
Oh, goodness gracious. How often do you listen to the show, jackass?
Well, I listen to it enough to know what all you're saying today, right now.
Well, how about you can have differing opinions without you just going, y'all don't know anything. How about you screw off and stop listening to the show? Do us all a favor.
What kind of Christian are you? Orthodox Christian Church. Kirillin is he's a freaking genocidal maniac. You, sir, you're going to have a surprise when your day comes.
Also, I don't really like the anti-Semitic conspiracy
Me neither.
rabbit hole. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Unless you're that last guy who called. Let's go to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
Better than that last guy, I guess.
But what's the score there today, Cohen?
It's 31-7.
Ooh, that's a good
31-7. It's been good. Michael Jacks is spending the day in Enterprise. Had a customer that moved down there and bought a nice 75-inch terrace television, outdoor TV from Samsung, and also a 65 for his great room, bunch of Sonos. And anyway, he left out of here about 8:30 this morning and probably won't be back until 6 o'clock. And, but he'll get everything installed and get the customer taken care of. And, that's what he's all about.
And I've seen him at work myself. The guy, he knows how to set these things up quick, set them up right, so he doesn't have to come back, number one. And he really will sit there and make sure it's not just, the TV's mounted on the wall and everything's hooked up to the right HDMI channels. He'll sit there and make sure your accounts are logged into. Like, he really wants it to be exactly how you like it before he leaves.
Exactly. And the other thing that he wants to make sure that the customer can operate the TV. So he's not just going to do it and then do it in his hand and say, this is the button to do this and this one does that. He's going to actually give you the remote as the customer and say, I want you to go to Netflix. I want you to go to here. I want you to exit out. And he's going to kind of give you a open book test. Because he does want you to be able to enjoy whatever he's doing. And then he wants to be able to know also, so that if you do give him a call in 2 or 3 weeks because you have a question about something, he knows how everything is connected. So he knows what to tell you, because mostly what to tell you is the same thing as to tell the next guy as well.
Well, folks, you can always go to thinkcohens.com, sort of shop, peruse from home, or if you already know what you want, or just want to talk to some good people, call them at 277-8890. But I really encourage you to stop by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And it's the service that really makes a difference there at Cohen's. The reason they've been around for 60 plus years and have had generations after generations of customers very happy with them. Well, I appreciate it as always, Michael.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all later.
See you, Michael.
Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Again, 272-9228. If you want to get in on the program, that's 334-272-9228. I think the biggest disappointment for me, if Trump gets in there, is if the wrecking ball doesn't commence.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean cutting regulations or cutting taxes or cutting spending. I also mean things like changing the groupthink in Washington, D.C. I think there's a lot of that going on around economic policy, around foreign policy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the point you made about the civilians who are very high level, who aren't touched by political appointees, that's what you need to change up. The folks with the actual levers on the, levers of power. So that needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, that's going to be, I think, a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
That's not something I'm greatly worried about because, it's 7 days and let's give the guy a chance. Let's actually see what occurs. But I think we are looking at one thing. I agree with Biden. He says we're at an inflection point in our history. Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely.
No kidding, Joe. And goodness, this guy. So we'll see. But the big question for me going forward is how much Trump and his team in the executive branch are one thing. This new media with X and Elon Musk and the whole podcast space, that's another aspect of this. They were able to pick a president. Will they be able to put pressure on this next group, which is the Congress? And I'm just a little worried because of that, especially that thin majority in the House, that you're going to have some folks that go, well, I don't care what the people voted for. I
got to get mine.
I didn't serve for 20 years to become chair of this committee to now start playing ball with the latest thing the people throw out there. No, I've been making plans for a decade. Damn it! Like, don't
those peasants.
Mm-hmm.
What do they need?
I think that's going to be an interesting fight. But here's the good news: is that Trump, before he's even president, it seems like everybody's playing ball. Yeah. That's why I played the Jamie Dimon clip. So I've been more like, don't hang Mark Zuckerberg just yet. Yeah. Like, don't trust him, but kind of see through. And by the way, one thing we might get into in the last hour. Mark Zuckerberg has upset somebody in particular. The prince. And, his princes. Well, people are referring to him as the Markles.
Yeah. Mikhail.
What do they call it? Let me pull this up real quick because I want the official title. The Office of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They've come out with a fact check. Yeah. Fact checking Meta. Oh, they called Harry a half-blood prince like Harry Potter. Oh no. Oh my God, these folks have the thinnest skin in the world. And really, I saw, if you're out there and your house just burned down, the last person I want to see is Meghan Markle. In my face, give me up.
Thank you.
Goodness.
Get
little Archie. They want to show Archie off too, though. He's a cute baby.
This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim and Madeline are ready to help you out. Whether you're looking to buy here in the new year, it all starts with pre-approval. Just a quick conversation with them, answer some basic questions, and you can know how much house you can afford, what you're actually shopping for in the market. And sellers will take you much more seriously if you already have that pre-approval. And Alabama Home Mortgage can walk with you every step of the way, all the way to closing day, especially if it's your first time buying a home, or maybe the last time you did and it didn't go so smoothly and you want it to go well this time. Yeah. Got to go with Alabama Home Mortgage. Of course, they can also help you with a refinance deal. Could be you're looking to get debt off your back, or maybe you're fine in terms of your debt structure. It could be you want to reinvest in your property or yourself or in a family member. And there's a lot of reasons you might use that equity built up in your home. And if you're a veteran, Alabama Home Mortgage has veterans in their blood. So they make it a point of pride to know the latest with the VA home loan programs, whether you're looking to purchase or refi. There are a lot of veterans walking around who think, I already used my benefits, or I don't even have them. Yeah. It's just not true.
Correct.
Call up the pros there at Alabama Home Mortgage today, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Final hour of the program here on a Monday when we come back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Russian President Vladimir Putin will host his Iranian counterpart this week for the signing of a broad partnership pact between Moscow and Tehran. Ukraine has accused Tehran of providing Moscow with hundreds of exploding drones for use on the battlefield in Ukraine. Officials say U.S. and Arab mediators did make significant progress overnight toward brokering a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war and the release of scores of hostages held in the Gaza Strip, but a deal has not been reached yet. 4 officials say progress has been made on several occasions over the past year. U.S. officials have said they were on the verge of reaching a deal, only to have those talks stall. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 239 points, the NASDAQ Composite 178 in the red. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
We have a little Gulf Coast disturbance drifting by the area this morning. Otherwise, kind of a chilly Monday forecast with temperatures still running way below normal. High temperature today, barely up to about 50. Tonight, we're headed back to the 20s. I've got us around 26 for the overnight low temperature. For tomorrow, high temperature near 50, a brisk day, but we're dry. Upper 20s on Tuesday night. Good bit of sunshine Wednesday and Thursday, but still way below normal with highs in the low to mid 50s. And that high temperature on Friday of 60 starts to sound pretty good. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
It's not too late to apply for an ASE holiday loan or transfer high interest rate balances to a low fixed rate ASE credit card. Call 334-270-9011 or online yourasecu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
1819 News.
Both U.S. Senators Tommy Tuberville and Katie Britt are seeking to offer a bill in the U.S. Senate that creates reciprocity between states for the carrying of a concealed weapon. The Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act would allow for a concealed carry permit to be used across state lines in the very same way that a person's driver's license is used. Senator Tuberville says that the federal government has been over-regulating for far too long when it comes to firearms and Americans and their constitutional rights. Both Tuberville and Britt introduced this bill into the U.S. Senate back in 2023 and are working to re-offer the bill in 2025 now that the Senate, House, and White House are in Republican control. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
A current pastor from Opelika, who also ran as a Republican gubernatorial candidate back in 2022, is announcing that he will be running for lieutenant governor in 2026. Pastor Dean Odle made the announcement of his new campaign plans this past weekend. Odle was in a Republican primary that had 7 other candidates all challenging Governor Kay Ivey. This upcoming primary for lieutenant governor is set for May 25th of next year. And police officers in Oxford are mourning the passing of a K-9 explosives officer. K-9 unit Rex passed away at the age of 12. Rex was used for his explosive detecting skills in venues across the state of Alabama and has even earned awards for his work. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
I got hairy legs.
Joey Clark.
Oh, welcome back. Final hour of the show here on a fine Monday. 272-9228. You want to get in on the conversation. Now, I always check 1819news.com at 2 o'clock because they refresh things. And the top story right now, at least top of the page, is Tuberville joins SEALs veterans to back Pete Hegseth ahead of Sec Defense confirmation. The last 4 years has been an absolute disaster for our military, says Tuberville. So I just want to read the story. Craig Monger, who's on every Friday, wrote this up, saying U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville joined more than 100 Navy SEALs, veterans, and others on Monday to show support for Pete Hegseth's confirmation. Hegseth is slated to have his first confirmation hearing on Tuesday in front of Senate members. The fireworks are going to begin, by the way, folks.
Oh, yeah.
I think Hegseth actually gets through.
He does.
Though Elizabeth Warren's going to ask about that tattoo. She'd be unhappy that you have that Columbus flag.
I wish we could live stream her right now and we could let her know that we have that. I would love to see her react.
Poker.
You ain't kidding. Fire poker.
Initial reactions to Hegseth's nomination were centered around his perceived lack of qualifications for the job. However, in recent weeks, the conversation has dealt with accusations of drunkenness and sexual misconduct. Well, so he's not a square.
He's an infantryman. I expect that out of him. If he ain't got in a bar fight,
and now he's reformed, and he's on the straight and narrow.
That's how I want my Secretary of Defense.
Thank you.
One charge came in 2017 after a woman accused Hegseth of sexually assaulting her at the Republican Women's Convention. A woman filed a police report, which was made public after he was announced as Trump's pick. However, no charges were ever filed, and the pair reached a settlement agreement. Another story in the New Yorker detailed alleged testimony from unnamed former employees of Concerned Veterans for America, where Hegseth served as president from 2013 to 2016. The report lists accusations of repeated drunkenness on Hegseth's part, Other anonymous sources claim Hegseth left the organization due to concerns about financial mismanagement, sexual misconduct, and his drinking. However, many current and former concerned veterans employees have publicly denied the accusations. While some have expressed concerns over the accusations, others have dismissed them as an anonymous rumor designed to smear Hegseth's reputation ahead of his confirmation. At Monday's press conference, Tuberville joined multiple others in praising Hegseth's qualifications for the job and pushing for his confirmation. Tuberville took the microphone and immediately commented on the impressive level of high-caliber support that came out in support of Hegseth, saying, quote, "It's great to be standing here with people like the SEALs and all the veterans and all the patriots and all the ones that are going to march tomorrow for Pete. I've known Pete for a few years. I wish we didn't have to do this, but it still shows support." Tuberville continued, "It's not about the huge problems we're having in this country, such as inflation, such as crime, bad education, and borders. Those are huge problems, folks. You can't fix anything unless you have a strong military to protect the people of this country. You can't do that. That's where it has to start." Tuberville went on to echo similar observations that he's made in the past about the status of the military. Long applauded the men and women of the armed forces while simultaneously bemoaning the perceived lack of leadership and preparedness for advancing progressive programs and ideas in the military. Tuberville said, quote, "The last 4 years has been an absolute disaster for our military. And again, we have a lot of good people, a lot of good men and women that believe in the United States. But we got to go forward. We have to have a leader. It all starts with one person. We don't need a general from the Pentagon. We've tried that. We need a drill sergeant, somebody that's been in 2 wars, somebody that understands camaraderie and team and work ethic and time restraint and respect, personal respect, believing in yourself first. We've got to get all that back. We've got to get it back. We have no choice. If we don't, it's over. If we hadn't got President Trump elected, it would have been over with these people running this country the way they're running it, running our military down, putting all the woke DEI agenda out there. It would have been an absolute continued disaster. It's over." Tuberville predicted an aggressive confirmation process for Hegseth beginning on Tuesday, but ultimately predicted his confirmation. So that's going to be one side of this. I think Hegseth, it'll be a little bit of fireworks.
Oh, sure.
Because
they got some stuff they can throw at him, sure.
They got stuff, and he's got Christian tattoos and stuff.
Yeah,
What is he?
They're going to try to fire him up.
He's going to hold the sword to my neck and make me, convert or something.
They're going to try to make the dog
that
bite.
Catholic schooling is going to come in handy when that day comes.
While he's drinking, he's going to have that sword in his hand.
Well, I'm going to be like, Hail Mary, full of grace. It's like, we're Protestant. And it's like, no.
Peace be unto you, sir.
No. But I think the real fireworks come with RFK Jr.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
You can sell
show.
tickets to that, baby.
Yeah.
And I think RFK is going to handle himself just fine.
I look forward to that.
It's going to be great.
Who else is up? Tulsi Gabbard will probably
That'd
get
be
some
another one,
pushback.
I read an interesting article. She's supporting now Section 702. I don't know if you saw that, which is that's been the holdup with her is that Section 702, which what it addresses is certain reconnaissance and or observations on citizens, U.S. citizens.
FISA, yeah.
FISA. It's a FISA matter, but I thought it was interesting. So she said, "Yeah, I'm on board."
Yeah, well, I think it generally needs to be reformed. That we could go into a whole spiel about. Well, because the government learns after 9/11, okay, we had information so siloed, we didn't know, so let's tear down that wall, tear down the silos. But now what you have are things like the FBI going into that database that incidentally collected Americans.
Yeah, right.
And then they'll find somebody committing a crime through that spying.
It's bad.
Tearing up the Fourth Amendment to shreds. Then they're so dastardly about this, they'll do a thing called parallel construction. Because they know they can't go into court and tell the judge, we got this through the FISA spying program. So they come up with a phishing story in order to go, this is how we actually figured it out, Judge.
Which, how many times have they been caught lying?
And it's stuff like that it's got to stop. I think.
Well, there's going to be a revamping, I think, of federal law enforcement. There has to be.
Yes.
It has to be.
Has to. And so I think Pam Bondi gets through pretty quietly.
Yeah, I believe so.
As the incoming attorney general. Marco Rubio, I think, gets approved on day one. Yeah. That's the benefit of picking a senator who's been there a while. It's like all the senators are like, it's a courtesy. You're a senator. Here you go, Marco. Enjoy yourself. Who else? Elise Stefanik, I think, gets through on day one. But beyond just the confirmation hearings, we have some legislating getting done, and it looks like the Lake and Riley Act passed the House, and it's now advanced in the Senate, and it should come up this week. One of the top people pushing this in the national press is Alabama's own Montgomery's own United States Senator Katie Britt. Let's listen in. This is if we can handle Jake Tapper. Ugh. Let's listen into this conversation about the Lake and Riley Act.
Congress right now, the Senate voted this week to advance your legislation, the Lake and Riley Act, which would require federal authorities to detain undocumented immigrants who have been charged with, arrested for, or convicted of burglary, theft, or shoplifting. You have support from some Democrats. Other Democrats say the way the bill's written, they believe could result in thousands of people being detained indefinitely simply for being accused of a crime without actually having been charged or convicted, violating due process rights. Are they wrong?
Yeah, look, the Lake and Riley Act is ultimately going to save lives. It is a common sense piece of legislation, and it actually puts the talk that we've been having over the last 4 years into action. Jake, there's been no more litigated issue over the last 4 years than President Biden and Vice President Harris's open border policies. It is my belief that the American people entered a verdict on that on November 5th, saying we are ready for secure borders. We want our streets and our communities to be safe and secure. This is the first step in doing this. This is a targeted piece of legislation that goes directly to the heart of the tragedy that occurred with Lake and Riley. As you well know, Friday would have been her 23rd birthday. She should still be with us. If this piece of legislation had been enacted, she would. And so Americans are ready for common sense solutions, and they're ready for us to stop talking and actually yield results. I'm encouraged by the number of Democrats that have come on board and those who have voiced their support for this piece of legislation. I think as we continue to debate this and talk about the merits of it this week, it'll garner more support. And as you know, Jake, it passed the House not once, but twice. Last year in last Congress, it passed with 37 Democrats supporting. This year, it had 48 Democrats supporting it. So it's a bipartisan piece of legislation that is 60% of the House. I expect it to get 60% or more in the Senate.
I'm sure there is wide consensus approval for deporting violent undocumented immigrants 100%. But what I've heard concerns expressed about is indefinitely detaining those who are merely suspected of committing nonviolent crimes, not formally charged. Is that not a concern?
Yeah, so Jake, this is actually charged, arrested, or convicted. And if you look at this, we have 11 million illegal immigrants in this nation. Of that, 7.8 million of those are actually in removal proceedings. Of the 7.8 that are in removal proceedings, Jake, 1.4 million of those have been given final orders of removal, meaning they have been given due process, and we have said it is time for you to leave. My question is, I've heard a number of things about the number of migrants that this would affect. I think more recently was said. My question is, I wonder how many of those who have created theft-related crimes are actually have already been given their final orders of removal. I've asked for those answers and certainly look forward to them. I think at the end of the day, if you don't commit a crime, the Lake and Riley Act, you're not subject to it. So I think we should start there. I think Democrats have to wake up and realize that Americans are sick of excuses and they're ready for action. And as long as you don't commit a crime, this doesn't apply to you. And I think people would agree that if you do commit a crime, you should go to the front of the line when it comes to detention and removal. Of those numbers that I talked about, only 1% of illegal immigrants are actually being detained, less than 1% of those in removal proceedings. So I think, Jake, it's about 40,000 that are being detained. Of those 40,000 being detained, 15,000 of them have committed crimes. I think the American public would take a look at this and say, yes, if you came illegally and then you chose to commit a crime against Americans, whether that's property or life, that we are saying, yeah, you go to the front of the line when it comes to detention and deportation.
You're on the Senate.
Holds her own quite well. Yeah. And it is nice seeing Montgomery, Alabama up in the top right there. Yeah. It's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Just, I guess I'm a homer, if that makes any sense.
What's wrong with that?
What do you call it? Is that a homer? Like, what are you smirking about over there, Eddie?
That's good. We're going to go with Homer.
Homer?
Homer.
What else could we go with? What were you thinking?
I'm not thinking.
Seriously, he does this from time to time.
I know he does. And you know what? He's like the Oracle of Delphi, or it's like the Witch of Endor, Shall I be Thane of Scotland?
I can't think of one
He's over
clean
there
word.
just
That's why I just
smiling.
can't
one clean
I
word.
can't think of one radio-friendly word.
Oh,
boy.
that's fair. Yeah. Brown noser? Is that what you're going to go with?
No, I think you're just you're promoting.
Okay.
You're a promoter of our area. You're trying to give us a good.
Oh, I love the idea that's there. Just
Well, and I think one person on these airwaves once referred to her as captivating. So,
I still say it 100%. She's very captivating, especially where she's sitting where you are. You know, you're really good looking, but not near as captivating.
Well, you know what? It's funny. It's funny you mention that. I had somebody tell me, they say people have a face for radio, but I've got a face for radio and video, and I'm very humble too.
Let me tell you,
very humble.
and I said this on Greg's show the other day. I can't watch our cast on YouTube anymore because I've got a big TV like yours, and I can see my face.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of face.
You do have
and
a lot
I'm
of face.
looking, and it looks like I had a face stroke at one time. I got bags under my eyes. I can't do it. I can't watch anymore. I go back and listen occasionally.
That's so funny.
But watching is awful.
By the way, Wesley Britt followed me today on X, and the first thing I thought of was Trump going, "Where's your big, beautiful husband? Where is he?" Oh, my God. Yeah, thanks for the follow, Wesley. 272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Papa B.
Hey, Papa B.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm doing pretty good. Just got my Invisaligners off for the last time. Had to straighten my old crookedy teeth on the bottom. At 63 years old, I just believe it's time to spend a little bit of money on myself.
There you go. There
You
go.
earned it.
That's right.
Don't know if I've earned it, but I certainly am doing it. So, the more I look at this fire, the more purposeful it appears to be, to me, anyway. Purposeful with bad intent, and certainly mismanaged with bad intent. There's just a whole lot of bad reasons, or good reasons if you're, of the criminal mindset, to have a fire. And so there's a big old fire. I can tell you this now. From what I've observed over the years, when bad guys want to cover up things, they light a fire. Okay? I told you before, I'm not a Bible scholar. I'd had to look this up. 1 Peter 4:8 says, "Love covereth a multitude of sins, but a fire," and this is Papa B's addition, "covereth a multitude of evidence, burneth a multitude of evidence."
Sure.
So if there were any kind of misdoing, things that were wanting to be burned up, needed to be burned up by bad guys, it certainly got destroyed in this fire.
And I don't know. I think it's an interesting theory. The official one coming out, I think today, is that it was fireworks from New Year's Eve, but that initial fire from the fireworks seemed to move all of a sudden too. So I don't know.
How many of those fires started at the exact same time?
Right, that too. And is it just the wind with the embers? Which is, you see it. We see it on video. You see how it spreads.
We saw the individual with the blowtorch.
Yeah, and we
got to wonder.
They also this weekend they had individuals wearing fire gear that were doing looting.
Yep.
So how can you believe
Looters will be
anything
shot.
that is out of there?
Yeah.
Just all kinds of bad things going on. And so, okay, what if it was fireworks? Who set off the fireworks? Eddie said it best. The wind don't do it.
The wind don't
The
start
wind
fires.
did not start the fire.
Right.
So, okay, so the fireworks over here, now there's fireworks over there, now there's fireworks over there, all kind of set off in just the right places where it's going to blow that wind, it's going to blow it right into.
That was another thought I had too. What an ironic place to start a fire. Right when it's
Yeah,
going
they
to
really
screech
knew
through
how
this valley.
They knew where to set those fireworks off. Okay, those fireworks. Just that, the example that I have come back to, and I've been going to you before, I think, years ago. But a prime example, over in Tuskegee, the Board of Education over there wound up buying the old defunct Cadillac building, Cadillac dealership, back in the late 90s, I think. Late 80s, early 90s, something like that. And there was a lot of, things that didn't kind of add up on some books. And so the state of Alabama was coming in for an investigation. Now, that was a metal building, by the way. The night before, the investigators from the state came down into the east to get a look at the records. That building burned with a fire so hot that it twisted the metal I-beam. Pretty convenient, I would say. So there was nothing to investigate after that, of course, because all the records were destroyed. So you tell me if this fire is not a little bit too convenient. I think it is. It's also convenient for the money. Look, hey, now we got to have billions of dollars of government aid coming into California.
Yeah, Marshall Plan for
It's
California.
broke.
Oh, yeah.
Now, California's broke because they've been spending all the money on illegal.
Let them stay
All of
broke.
the fire budget itself was spent on illegal.
Yep.
Just one bad thing after another. And so, it's just a little too rich to, just say, oh, well, there you go. It just happened. That kind of thing happened.
Yeah, well, you know the old Oscar Wilde line that the young know everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, and the old believe everything?
Believe everything. Yep.
I think you're still middle-aged, Papa B.
Well,
Don't start believing it just yet. You're still young.
They keep trying to get me in the senior club at church, and I'm like, I'm too young to be so old. You know what I mean? Come on now. I'm still hanging out with my 30 and 40-year-old buds. Let me get to the 70s at least, Anyway, all right, guys, thanks a lot for letting me call in. Interesting show.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it, Papa.
Papa.
You were going to say
I was
something?
going to ask, I wondered, I got to thinking after he called last time, we were talking about Fallujah and all that. I wonder, is he a veteran, do you think?
I don't know.
Papa, if you're out there,
I don't think so, but I don't know.
comment, let us know. He seemed to be tied to the military somehow, so it was just wondering.
272-9228. So how about a complete change of pace? When this is from Baseball History Nut on X. He asked the question, when I mention, quote, pitcher with great control, who's the first player that pops in your head? And the responses are fairly universal. It's all Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux. And I am almost sitting here thinking, is he maybe the greatest of all time?
When it comes to control, he didn't overpower you.
Nope.
He had about 3 pitches, but he could place the ball wherever he wanted it,
right.
and consistently place the ball wherever he wanted it.
And without destroying his arm.
That's
it's
right.
not like he's throwing big heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think Maddux is up there in the conversation.
I would agree.
I don't know. And it's so different, because, you could talk greatest closer of all time. But if I had to pick 4 or 5 pitchers in a stable, Maddux would be there. And I would throw in Tommy Glavine. I guess I'm a homer for the Braves.
Glavine would be, and then I think, Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson,
no doubt. Yes. No doubt. Phil Niekro.
Phil Niekro
in there.
Knuckleballer.
Knuckleballer. I mean, there's very few people that I know who play baseball through high school that could actually throw a true knuckleball.
Yeah, it's true.
And once you got it, you got it.
Well, it waxes and wanes because it's so difficult to master. You can throw it, but do you have a catcher that can actually catch it?
That's one of the problems. I was a catcher. It's tough
and
to catch.
if you mess it up, it is the easiest ball to boom out of the ballpark.
You can tattoo it.
But no one can ever. That's just it. No one can ever hit it.
If you throw it right.
Yeah.
But if you mess up and all you're doing is just floating one over the plate.
You got to square.
And it looks so easy. Yeah. You're standing there. You just come on, baby. Here it is. Here it is. Wish.
And Randy Johnson's a fascinating figure because he didn't get big until he was a little older.
Right.
Yeah. Several years in the league. And because this question came up, people started putting it was an old promo on TV that said Randy Johnson against Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
And then it had a little disclaimer, both because playoff concerns. I don't know the excuse. Both will not be starting. It's some no-name guys. Can you imagine buying a ticket to see Maddux against Johnson, and then all of a sudden they switch out the player?
You remember when Johnson smashed that bird?
Yeah.
I destroyed it.
Yeah.
There's a funny story about Randy Johnson. I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan. I grew up with the Big Red Machine. Marge Schott, who was crazy. Hitler wasn't bad. He just went too far, she said. Listen, she was bad. She was drunk all the time at the game. Her husband owned the team before. But anyway, she says she's with Jim Bowden, who was then our GM, sitting there. And she goes, who's that freak on the mound? And he goes, that's the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. She goes, he never pitched on our damn team. And he said, that's why we don't win many. Because she didn't like facial hair. And
Really?
You cannot have it on the Reds.
That's so crazy, man. Yeah, she was legendary, man. Legendary.
272-9228. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I want to talk about the rounding up of the 11 million illegal aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be stopped by cultus comitatus. I don't know if that's the right word, right term, where the military can't do it. And I bet you some Yahoo or group is going to go to a federal judge and stop that. And but I think Trump will ignore it. What do you think?
I don't know if you initially have to even use the military. Like, you would just more repurpose, whether it's the marshals or FBI or some ICE, you sort of combine.
Well, he said he's going to use the military to round up these illegal aliens.
I mean, he might, and I see what you mean in terms of a legal challenge. That's what happened the first time he was in office, and there's always going to be a legal challenge. I think, in particular, though, Trump already won that battle that, like, the Army Corps of Engineers can build the wall. And so it might not be they're literally in towns rounding up illegals. It's more they're supplementing the border security as ICE, FBI, everybody else is doing the job.
I would think that I would also think that it would be relevant to the National Guard would probably be called in. They have quasi law enforcement in their jurisdiction.
Yep, it'd have to be the National Guard. That'd be the only thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be active duty Army units or Marines.
Well, no, that's why I heard that. He said that he's going to use the military for transportation, housing, and everything else before they send them out.
Well, I did see they were going to set up some detainment camps on federal military installations. So, yeah, I did see that part.
Yeah.
But your point about the legal challenges, I mean, I think you're right.
They're going to come no matter what.
They're coming. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I have one more thing. A lot of times I see sheriffs and Montgomery policemen at Walmart, and they are doing off-duty work with a patrol car outside. And I talked to one of the councilwomen from the city, and they receive a 15% pay raise, and you're using a person that has to go on a 12-hour shift working 4 to 6 hours off duty, and with a police unit being stuck where the police unit could be used by somebody else.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's essentially another additional strain on resources.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not against people moonlighting, but it's more like don't be taking away police resources while you're doing that extra job. Okay. Yeah.
Because they are you have 12-hour shifts plus a 4 to 6 hour at Walmart. Those guys are not fully prepared to take on the duties they have for their shift, I feel.
Oh, yeah, and we'll see. The new chief has now been named the full-time chief, not just interim, and it's going to be not just Montgomery, but Birmingham and all sorts of cities around this nation, trying to train up and recruit good officers and having the force levels you need.
Right.
It's a big problem, and it needs to be done as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's all I got.
Well, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, thanks.
Good stuff. Call again. 272-9228 is how you call into the program. This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And they're at River Region Contracting. They're ready to help you out with your roof, and they love to educate their customers on their roofs. So it could be an asphalt or a metal roof. You've dealt with both.
Dealt with them several times. In fact, one of the best pieces of advice one of the guys gave me was my roof looked fine, but the chimney, he said, you need a little bit of work done on the chimney. And I thought, what could be wrong with the chimney? And he told me, well, because of the age on it, it's no longer really repelling water. That mortar and that brick is absorbing water. And he said, sure enough, he said, look downstairs. I'll bet it looks like your chimney is wet. Well, sure enough, we went downstairs and it did.
Okay.
And that's something I never knew. And he told me exactly. He said, they can do it. Gave me the price for them to come seal my chimney and really scrape some of the algae and really took care of it. I had no idea that could have been an issue. But as soon as they took care of it, it no longer looked like it was raining downstairs anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do. And it's not like, oh, we found a problem and we're not going to describe it to you and we're just leave us alone. No, they love to be able to get pretty detailed on this stuff.
They took me up. I mean, it was me. I got up on the ladder with them. We went up top and they showed me where I thought I had some flashing issues. That's the whole reason I brought them there. And they said, no, you're okay. But they really took the time to make me feel comfortable, for one, with what I was doing, but to call them. It wasn't a waste of anybody's time. They were excited to be there, glad to help me.
And if you're looking just for an inspection, here's the beautiful thing of working with River Region Contracting. Those inspections are always free.
Exactly, Joey.
They do find an issue, say with your chimney, they can write you up an estimate, and the write-up of the estimate's always free. The estimate's always accurate. They show up on time. They get the job done well.
Yep.
They don't leave a big mess behind. And again, they'll talk you through, here's exactly what we're doing to fix the problem. And they're insurance specialists, so they can walk you through a claims process and make it a swift and easy experience, which is not something people usually associate with an insurance claim.
It's good.
And again, it's River Region Contracting. They're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. It's River Region Contracting with Todd Clark. So ask for Todd Clark there, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Are you happy with your IT support company? Do they resolve your company's computer issues quickly, or do they leave you down and frustrated? You need your computers working and problems resolved quickly and permanently. GTI is different. GTI has a high standard of affordably supporting and protecting businesses like yours since 1999. Call them now at 819-4650, 819-4650, or visit gtinow.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Well, hi, everybody. Colder air is flowing in again, and we're headed for another cold one tonight with the overnight low temperature down to about 26 by first thing on Tuesday morning. Tuesday's high near 50, kind of a brisk January day with upper 20s on Tuesday night. Plenty of sun on Wednesday and Thursday, but still dry. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s. And Friday's high 60 starts to sound better. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and let's talk to Simpler Days. Hey, Simpler Days, how you doing?
Oh, well, I'm doing pretty good. Just wanted to comment on the caller's remarks about off-duty officers. You know, working the off-duty jobs. That's a time-honored tradition passed down through the ages. I mean, law enforcement officers have been working part-time jobs forever, and there's two trains of thought on it. One, that the black and white, the patrol car sitting there in front of the business is a deterrent, and that the officer inside is deterring shoplifting, and robbery, and other crimes. Similar to working a part-time job at a bank. Are you deterring bank robberies? Or is the individual looking to commit a robbery and is just the mere presence of the unit and the officer deterring crime? So that's saving money in the long run to the community. And then the other one is, I think that they don't care anymore. I just don't think the criminals care anymore, whether there's a mark in it, whether there's an officer inside, because the way the criminal justice system operates now, I just don't think they care.
Agreed.
But, I can see his point about the officers working, extended hours, and are they fit for duty? I can see that, say, like in Birmingham, if an officer's working a part-time job, which they have in the past, say at Sammy's,
Gentlemen's Club. Gentlemen's Club.
Yeah. Their eyeballs may be tired, and they may not be able to focus on the criminal element on the street after long hours of doing the inventory. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Appreciate the info. Really do.
See you separate days.
Yeah, you have to cover all sorts of things here. Now, this is a report on how Trump would use the military. So Trump did say he plans to use the military for mass deportations. But the National Guard is to support deportations, not to make arrests. Right. And that's kind of how I envision it, that it's mostly going to be
transporting and moving them to the location and get them on board airplanes and out of here.
Yeah, but your actual point of contact with arrest will be law enforcement. Whether local or federal.
Have to be.
Now, that's going to be a whole other interesting wrinkle, is the so-called sanctuary cities, sanctuary states.
Go after them last.
Then you
go after them last.
Why not?
But you could see the National Guard having to go in and forcibly secure an area so ICE can do their thing.
But I think, and the reason I say go after them last, for one, don't waste the resources there from the get-go. You've got enough people in enough states. If you put pressure, just like here in Alabama and other states, all it takes is a little bit of pressure. They will self-leave. There's no doubt about it. And up until that point, these people are going to go to the sanctuary cities. Let them go. All that's going to do is overwhelm the crap out of them.
Cut off the federal funding.
There you go.
Cut off federal funding to the cities.
And folks are going to act like, it's so. No, this is, again, corporate media, Reuters, saying both Republican and Democratic administrations have used National Guard troops to assist the U.S. Border Patrol at the border with Mexico, but they have not been used to make immigration arrest. Right. Okay. The Trump administration's plans to use the military in a similar support role for the deportation effort. That's from Tom Homan. Said, quote, "We would like the Department of Defense to help us in a lot of areas in transportation and infrastructure building, intelligence and targeting, but a sworn immigration officer with immigration authority will be making those arrests."
There you go.
There we go. Because, I see why. We go, we're going to use the military, and somebody goes, well, what about posse comitatus? Like, what about, you start imagining like it's a Hollywood movie, and it's remember right after the Boston bombing, the show of force? Sure. That was pretty nuts, and that's not what I want in order to stop immigration. I think, again, there's going to be a lot of scare tactics, as J.D. Vance addressed this weekend, the whole family separation thing. It's like, well, if you break the law here in this country as a citizen, you're separated.
The law. You broke the law the day you came in as an illegal. So to me, that's where it starts and stops. And for people that say, I don't want to separate families and things like that, I'm right there with Tom Holman.
One of the things I find interesting is with the illegals, as you said, who have broken the law to get here, collectively, I shouldn't use a pronoun, I'll call it they, if I'm going to use a pronoun, have empowered them to think they have some sort of rights, privileges. You have nothing. You're an illegal. You're going sort of like the the law of land warfare when we were in Iraq, Afghanistan. You know, everybody gave rights to these terrorists, right? Well, check it out. If you are if you're an armed combatant without a uniform on in the field of battle, I can kill you on the spot. Right. I don't need any court, anything of that nature. So we just empower these people.
Now, going to a guy that's going to be leaving, thank God, and we're going to get a major improvement. Christopher Wray.
Oh, God.
Who, ever since Trump picked him the last time, I'm like, that dude's from Central Casting. Like, what are you doing? Just the look of him. But he on 60 Minutes kind of really talked up this whole Chinese cyber threat. Let's listen in.
Are in a way the world's largest, bigger than that of every major nation combined, and has stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than that of every nation, big or small, combined. But even beyond the cyber theft, there's another part of the Chinese cyber threat that I think has not gotten the attention publicly that it, I think, desperately deserves, and that is Chinese government's pre-positioning on American civilian critical infrastructure to lie in wait on those networks, to be in a position to wreak havoc and can inflict real-world harm at a time and place of their choosing.
The Chinese have already insinuated malware into critical American infrastructure.
That's correct.
Like what?
Things like water treatment plants. We're talking about transportation systems. We're talking about
wait. You're the head of the FBI. What are you doing about it?
What are you doing? Yeah.
No, like, I'm so tired of, you're the head of the top law enforcement, federal law enforcement agency, and you're just scaring people on 60 Minutes. What are the actual solutions? Why is this being allowed to happen under your watch, sir?
We're going to ban TikTok. Which I got a whole...
Do you see that, Mr. Wonderful is probably going to buy it? I can't remember his, Leary?
You don't think that Zuckerberg coming to kiss the ring of the man has anything to do with TikTok being banned? And the one thing that Congress can't control is TikTok?
No, they've been trying to ban TikTok for a while. I don't think it has anything to do with Zuckerberg.
I think it has a lot to it. You ban?
No, they've
you
already
ban
passed.
TikTok?
No, but they've already passed the law to ban it. I'm saying the timing doesn't work.
Yeah, it does. I'm telling you. What? So just last week, he said, I've seen the light where I've got to go admit to the American people I screwed them. That's what you're believing? That I've been censoring them, and I'm going to go tell on them now that Daddy's coming home? Has nothing to do with, hey, my biggest competition is getting knocked out of the market now, and I get to take over that much more? Nothing to do with it.
No, because Daddy is also working a deal with Kevin
Daddy's
Leary.
trying to keep it.
Kevin O'Leary to keep TikTok, yes.
What's Zuckerberg want? He wants it gone.
But it won't be gone because Trump is actually working a deal.
6 days. 6 days.
Okay. All right.
We'll see.
I'm just saying the ban was a while ago. It wasn't recently. The ban was before Trump even won in November. And it's been working its way through the court.
But I'm not saying that Zuckerberg didn't go to them a while back or they go to him a while back. I'm not saying they suddenly pulled him in. I'm saying the plan has been in effect. This is what's happening.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I just also think that Trump and folks around him want to keep it.
Yes.
And so we'll see.
And so they were trying to get rid of it before he even came into office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Zuckerberg coming around, that to me is new. I guess to you that's old news, but to me that's new that he's coming around. I need everybody to forgive me now. Give me a blanket forgiveness. Screw him. He's as dirty as he ever was. He just now bowing down to kiss the ring of the man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We should celebrate the bowing down to kiss the ring.
No, not at all.
I agree with you.
Call it crap a piece of crap, and that's what he is.
He has to bow down and kiss the ring.
And not only that,
but we don't have to celebrate him for that. We call him out for being a punk. That's what we do, not celebrate.
But he's
him.
under control. He'll be under control. That's
no, he won't be under control.
I think he will be. I think that the talk came. You will comply, or you will go away. I believe that. I believe there's a strong army because let's be honest, those platforms were used for shameless self-promotion of the Democratic Party. And I'm with you. I share your venom about it, but I have a feeling Trump, he kissed his ring because it's like Godfather is here. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm saying we should celebrate our wins.
Absolutely.
I don't see it as a win. I don't see it as a win. I see it as a settle.
He wants him to go away permanently.
I want to know what he did. He has not confessed. He has not told us what he did. He told you enough to let it go.
Let it go. It's like have any power to control Mark Zuckerberg?
One? No. One
Right.
person? No.
Right.
I'm thinking the
No,
Frozen.
I'm
movie.
thinking of the dynamic of this guy who played ball with the last folks is now having to, come out and say, I was wrong and kiss the ring. And we should celebrate that it's not just him, but a whole bunch of other
They're
folks.
all doing it. Yeah.
Doesn't mean you trust them. Doesn't mean you celebrate
I don't know.
them.
X didn't have to come around and do that.
Elon?
He didn't have to come around and kiss the ring of the man.
No, Elon helped get him elected and stuck his neck out there.
Right.
Yeah.
He paid
So
for
that's
it.
the guy we celebrate.
I agree. Am I celebrating
If I
Zuckerberg?
celebrate, I don't. Yeah.
If you go online, everybody's still ripping into him. We're just saying we should celebrate the neutering of these people.
I agree with that. I know.
He needs a lot more public shaming.
I like
lot
the way
more.
he thinks. He wants to see suffering.
I want to see some groveling.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Beatings will continue, right?
Yeah.
If this research polls keep sending me another text, I'm going to throw my damn phone across the room.
Please don't.
What are they
I'm
researching?
standing right across from you.
Just polls?
Yeah, like we have local issues that we want you to. No, go away.
Tell them to listen to your show. They will get all your commentary on all local issues. They won't have to bother you anymore.
My commentary is local government stupid. They can barely do anything for you.
They can ticket you.
And yet it's amazing how people fight over a little bit of power.
What did Kissinger say about power? He said the reason academics, professors, fight so much in universities is because there's so very little to gain and so much to lose. You know, you got a small piece of a fiefdom. You don't want to give it up. So
yes, very true.
Now, and going back to this whole outgoing Christopher Wray, like seriously, what is this on 60 Minutes? No, not up there. On 60 Minutes, like this whole, let's come out and scare everybody about China. And how the Chinese have sleeper cells.
Consider the source. Consider the source.
But
what the heck
a
is
lot of
that?
we already knew.
Sources.
Right.
And yeah, I think your whole
We
thing
talked
is right.
about this
Fear.
a couple of weeks ago, guys. The media, the left forum is trying to spike the guns and make things as difficult as possible for the incoming president.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
It's 7 days. It'll be 6
Gosh.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be 6.
But it just does feel like, what's the next shoe to drop? What's
Just
the
it.
next
What's going to
thing?
happen? I mean, look what's happened in the last 11 days. What's going to happen in the
Oh,
next 7?
Zuckerberg says more companies need masculine energy. Okay.
I'd like his T checked.
Seriously, I think he's put on like, from old photos of him, I think he has put on like 20, 25 pounds of muscle. And he's trained up in
He's doing human
jiu-jitsu.
growth. Doing human growth.
Probably.
Of course,
And
man.
like,
He has the elongated
get your
forehead.
hands on, yeah.
training jiu-jitsu and
Yeah, right.
hunting and all sorts
Yeah,
of
he's a
stuff.
man.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
A while back, he did a whole thing where he's only going to eat meat that he kills.
Yeah. He's young. He's an
Believe
old
that?
I'm not celebrating him.
Where's he living at?
I mean, California, man.
Right
That
now.
great hunting out.
No, and like I think there are a lot of folks that are like, oh wait, we're allowed to not go along with this anymore, and they're cowards, and they should be called out for being cowards
Yes.
and pushing this stuff and benefiting from it. They're cowardice, but also it's a good thing that you now have a different Faja.
Oh, no doubt about that.
That was a reference to the third Austin Powers movie, not anything else, folks.
You got me interested in the hunting part now.
A smoke and a pancake. A pipe and a creek. Anyway, we got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is James Jones with Jones Drugs. We've got locations in Prattville, Millbrook, Greenville, and Montgomery, and soon to be Phoenix City. My dad told me once if I wanted the whole world to know anything, to tell my aunt. Well, I don't have my aunt here, but I've got the next best thing, Blue Water Broadcasting. They have helped us grow the Jones Drug family in this area for over 10 years. Thank you, Blue Water.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the river region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by Prattville Carpet. Normally at this time we talk to Ray Bowles on the phone, but he's busy right now.
He is.
Yeah, he's getting things done.
Yeah,
right
he
now.
is.
So we'll do that for him. Because at Prattville Carpet, not only can they help you with carpet in the name, it's all resurfacing products.
That's right.
So it could be traditional hardwood or the LVP, the luxury vinyl plank, looks like traditional hardwood.
Epoxy. He did epoxy
last
year.
Epoxy garage.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then what are the laminate products? Also fantastic. Or maybe you're looking to redo the kitchen or the bathroom, and right now it might be that time of the year like, dadgummit, I should have gotten the heated tile floor for the bathroom.
Never regret heated floors.
No,
you will
I
never
agree.
regret it.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice thing. Now, if you have cats, they'll probably be laying all over that.
Oh, yeah, you
heated
bet.
floor. But Prattville Carpet can help you out there. Just call them up today at 285-8117. They'll come out and do a free in-home measurement. Just get the dimensions of what you're looking to resurface. Then you pick out your product, and you'll know the price. They'll know how quickly they can get it done, which is quick, and you'll be happy. So again, that number, 285-8117. When you call those fine folks there at Prattville Carpet, be sure to tell them you heard about them here with Joey, Eddie, and Troy, those guys on the radio. So did we learn anything today? Anything at all?
Daddy's almost
Daddy's
home.
almost home,
He's almost
yeah.
home.
That I don't want to get on the wrong side of Eddie. He'll probably want me hung in the town square.
Why?
This is the vengeance.
Oh, no.
The
It's
sense of
misdirected.
vengeance.
It's just about Zuckerberg.
It's like a Game of Thrones character half the time.
I thought he
Okay.
went into a rage. His
I
eyes were
can't.
like
I just
fire.
can't stand someone that flips on a dime.
Yeah.
I can't stand that. If
I know
you're
what you-
truly a scumbag, keep being a
yeah, be a
scumbag.
scumbag.
Just,
Yeah.
at least I
See,
can respect
these
you
are the
for being a
people that
scumbag.
survive.
I get that.
You're right, though. They are. That's what I think really bothers me the most.
Right.
These are the people that survive.
The weasels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roaches.
We also learned that federal law enforcement needs to be seriously revamped.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's the
100%.
mouthpiece of the premier organization for it, and it's so derelict and corrupt.
We learned that there are continuing rumors through the grapevine here in Alabama that Kay Ivey might resign.
we did.
But they, of course, deny it. They're not real happy about people bringing this up. Her office is who I'm talking about.
Which just
And
makes
you know
me-
what I say to Governor Ivey's office? If you're listening, I doubt you do, and I don't blame you, given the things we've said over the years. But if you're listening, I agree. I don't want her to resign. I want it to actually have no incumbent governor running.
Agreed.
I do not want Will Ainsworth, even though I kind of like the guy, I don't want Will Ainsworth to inherit incumbency. I want him to earn it at the ballot box first.
You want a true contest?
It'll be by 2026, 16 years.
Oh, wow.
Since the last time it was just open,
16
Bob
years.
Riley was the outgoing
Yeah.
governor. He was termed out, and it was what? Tim James, Robert Bentley, Bradley Byrne, Robert Bentley getting a runoff. Bentley shocks the world and wins.
Yeah, he did.
But I
the
at
world
least
more than one
want that sort of surprise. Also, Roy Moore, I think, ran in that cycle. And
Yeah,
that's
you remember
also
that
when
debacle.
Republicans stormed the State House.
Yeah.
And, Mike Hubbard and Riley, they do the ethics thing, and Hubbard is hit by the own ethics line. It was a mess. It's been a mess. I get why people wanted K for stability or whatever. But come on, we need to actually open this thing back up and have a real competition for the top spot in this.
Yes.
And we could get an outsider possibly to win this.
Exactly.
Hurt my
Exactly.
feelings.
Whether his last name is Davis or Tuberville or I don't
Whoever
know.
might be. Wouldn't hurt my
Maybe
feelings.
it's a name we don't know. I don't know. We also learned that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex,
Oh, yeah.
Are they allowed to use that title officially? I think there's a certain limitation that they can't. They can't put it printed on a thing. I thought they said
it might
that was part of the settlement.
No,
but they left the
I'm
rule
looking
out.
at the.
There was a little settlement,
but I'm looking at the letterhead.
I believe you. I believe you. But I
The
think in
office
England
of
they can't.
Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and it's January 2025. The missive here is fact-checking Meta. It doesn't matter whether your views are left, right, or somewhere in between. The latest news from Meta about changes to their policy directly undermines free speech. Wait, by letting people speak more? This should deeply concern us all. Contrary to the company's talking points, allowing more abuse and normalizing hate speech serves to silence expression and speech, not foster it. Okay, so what do y'all find hateful, Megan? Like South Park?
Right.
Ripping y'all a new one?
Right.
Yes. Yes, they did. And that was really
You know
good,
what's
by the
funny?
way.
Like you read the Guardian. If you read the Guardian or the Telegraph, which is British, they're brutal.
It's like the
And
National
on the
Enquirer.
royalty
I mean,
watch, they're just killing Meghan and him. They're like, they're trash, dude.
Yeah, and the top comment underneath this is a clip from South Park where it says, "We want our privacy. Stop looking at it. We want our privacy."
I do remember that one very well.
See, you liking Zuckerberg more now?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Ron Paul here.
Still
Sell out.
dirtbag.
Hey, he could take you down, old man.
I would bring it.
He'll stretch you out.
I want him to. I will get so paid. I will get so paid.
Troy, I really appreciate you being here
Man,
today.
love coming, guys. Yeah, for sure.
It's great seeing you. And I like your flag, by the way.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
I
I'll
love
take
it.
Yeah, well, I'll try to bring a different one maybe each
Oh,
time.
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, y'all stay tuned. Happy hour, Greg Budell and Pamela. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.